You can say what you
I'm still in the opinion that we should make our own outer haven for Zanzibar land.
Yeah,
I'm all for outer
The big
haven.
boss had it right.
It's all ridiculous. They keep making these things and then they keep breaking it, and you're like, and it's just so funny.
Oh
It
boy.
honestly is.
Let's get going, folks.
Yeah.
Alright.
Yay!
Maggie!
COVID bores me these days anyway. Let's watch Maggie Mae Fish instead.
What a great idea. That'll fix everything.
Wow.
Jeez.
Anyway, good afternoon, folks. Welcome to Smudcast number 205. This is Fight Club.
Message coming in.
And it's not just any Fight
Patch it
Club. It is Maggie Mae Fish's film analysis of Fight Club, which, I mean, it could have been anything, really, but anything with Maggie Mae Fish in the title is going to be a weird experience.
You have Steven on the stream? That's awesome. I didn't know that you invited him.
I wish we could bring the holy visage that was Steven Seagal. That would have been fantastic. But no, we can't. We can't bring Steven in, only in spirit. So, and this is a long one, guys. This is not just, 20 minutes here. This is an hour's worth of Maggie Mae. So we're obviously not going to be able to get through with it today. But we will determine if the first 5 minutes are worth our time to see whether or not the next 5 minutes are worth our time. 50, 60 minutes, probably too much. So.
All you hear is just
Just as a
sound
quick,
of like gunshots.
as a quick disclaimer, I have neither read nor seen Fight Club.
Wow.
What? How dare?
I just
I
barely
rarely
watched
watch
it.
things.
I just barely watched it when I got off of work at about 3 a.m. to 4 a.m. to 6 a.m. just so I could do this because I knew I wouldn't have time otherwise.
So did you actually watch Fight Club, or did you watch the Maggie Mae Fish video?
Oh, I watched the Fight Club.
Oh.
No, I watched Fight Club
Excellent.
in its entirety.
Good, yeah.
Yeah.
Good man. What did you think?
I was very, very impressed by the level of craft on display, where I knew the twist going in, but it still was like, okay, this is fantastically written. Like, even if I didn't know the twist, I would be like, wow, this is like, all the clues are here, but it's so subtle that you wouldn't notice it if you didn't know.
Also, there's another
And that's
disclaimer.
really impressive.
You don't have to be spoiler free for me. I don't care about spoilers.
Well,
The old singing, old dancing crap of
Yeah.
it. That's
Whoa, hi, Dev. Oh my god,
Spoiled all over creation.
there's people popping in all over the place. I'm like, whoa, hello.
this is a special time of the month, folk. We get all the big guns out here. So
see how
Who would you pick to fight with, Dunn, by the way?
you could fight with any celebrity.
What?
Live or dead? Who would you pick?
a celebrity, Marlon Brando.
Yes,
I
there we
would
go.
fight.
What to fight?
Tommy Wiseau.
So that's a good one.
David Benny.
FDR, because he's in a
David
wheelchair,
Benioff.
and I think I could take him.
I want to fight The Rock. Arnold Schwarzenegger. That'd be fun. Or Bruce. I kind of want to fight Bruce Lee just to see how it's like.
Oh, wow.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, I want to fight Bruce Lee in the 80s.
Yeah, in the 80s.
Yeah, because he's already dead, and I think I might have a chance.
And or Chuck
got-
Norris.
It's gonna go like once upon a time in Hollywood.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see how Tyler Durden's the trans icon.
Whoa, slow
Wait.
down there, slow down.
Wait.
No
Any
spoilers.
I
celebrity?
think it's probably just going to be some it's going to be some
Are
like,
there any
anti-Nazi
phallic-shaped
screed.
weapons?
Message coming in.
It's going to be an anti-Nazi screed. That's all this woman is.
Well, we all know that Maggie Mae takes a rather random view of things. It's just we know it's associated with some degree of feminism or or inclusivity.
Insanity.
I don't know what flavor. It's going to be something along those lines.
This one
Basically
the
just-
doorbell go off then, by the
This is,
way.
this is basically a Fight Club, the film analysis done by an American Psycho. That's kind of what it comes down to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Spot on.
Oh,
Yeah.
not even a joke.
So who here has actually read the book or watched the movie? I haven't
I've
watched
done
the one.
both. I've read the book. I watched the movie. I have the audiobook. I have everything. I love Fight Club.
So we can all agree that Chuck Palahniuk is a genius.
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yes.
All right.
In fact, there's if any of you who like Chuck Palahniuk, you probably also like, or at least some sort of have aptitude for Bret Easton Ellis, because they kind of write very similar topics. They're very different guys. They're kind of two sides of the same coin. But there is Bret Easton Ellis has a podcast, and in one of his free episodes, last time I heard, is Bret Easton Ellis, the writer of American Psycho, sits down with Chuck Palahniuk, and they have like a nice podcast discussion, French kiss discussion. It's fantastic.
So if you don't know Chuck, he is a writer of what's called transgressive fiction, which is a strange subgenre, but it has to do with people who are confined or claustrophobic, or there's some sort of feeling of dread that's encroaching.
It's almost like Kafka-esque stuff. Like this,
it's
they feel
very
trapped.
similar, yeah. And it has that feeling of what is like you're not sure what's going to happen next, but it's almost on the side of horror, but it's not a horror story. It's just that sort of tone.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and if anyone likes Chuck Palahniuk and wants to read more than just Fight Club, I would suggest he has a collection of short stories, which Chuck Palahniuk is actually famous for. Like when he writes a new book, usually the author goes around and reads sections of the new book or whatever. But every time he writes a new book, he's supposed to read from the new book. He reads one of his new short stories instead, just as a joke, and they're pretty good. Like one is called Zombie, which is about the privileges and the positives and how freeing it is of destroying your own brain and giving yourself a lobotomy. It's like, well, everyone, the society just takes care of them, but they're free and they don't have to worry about things anymore. And it's not just these. He talks about the kid talking about his classmates is giving themselves lobotomies, and how this guy used to worry about every chess move, like he's a chess champion. He used to worry about all this stuff, and they give himself a lobotomy. Now he just he poops his pants and plays Play-Doh every day. He has a fun, fantastic time. He's happy. Where you used to not be happy. So it's really interesting. It's scary, it's disturbing, but also it's interesting.
I'm surprised they allow him to start writing Biden's biography. To be honest with you.
And me too.
Oh.
He's not my president.
Also, there's a story about where this guy has a revelation after he watches this video about this guy getting rammed by a stallion and dying, and he just.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. He has some sort of religious awakening experience. He can't stop watching that video over and over and over again.
No.
What you don't know what you're going to get with Chuck Palahniuk. It's usually disturbing though. It's usually pretty disturbing.
Yeah, no. He has some really interesting friends and writers circles that they talk about what is good writing. What is a thing that I want to create? What's a story worth telling? Very weird.
Did they mention themes?
Scary stuff.
Yeah. Very. By the way, one more thing on Chuck Palahniuk's other works. If you like Has Been Hotel, I would suggest reading the book Damned by Chuck Palahniuk. It's very, very similar to the Has Been Hotel feeling of hell. Very interesting.
I don't know what Has Been Hotel is.
Oh, you got to watch it. It's
you
free.
gotta watch that, yeah. Okay.
It's a cartoon.
All right, let's get started. Wild Tanuki,
is it weeb,
how you doing?
shit?
This video causes me great pain. Do not worry, we're with you, sir. We're all in this together. We know the feeling.
We're in this together.
Yeah. Jake the Surgeon, can we section this woman off?
When do we turn French?
What?
Oui.
Can we section this woman off from society? I think she's already done that herself. I don't think we have to worry about that.
You didn't have to do anything. She's already well on her way.
She's there. She's done it herself. We know exactly where she is. So, yeah. Wild Tanuki again. I have pissed in one of your fine perfumes. One of my favorite lines in the book. Oh, there's so many.
Yeah, it's just like And like so many of them are incorporated into the movie. Like just Tyler Durden is just this. He's definitely somebody who was very influential on something like I think like even like on Heath Ledger's Joker. You can see a lot of Tyler Durden in the Joker in The Dark Knight.
He's even difficulty getting into that packet there, Don.
Well, someone's really got to get into their chips.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Dunn.
No, it's not.
And eat it.
Have you got a pair of scissors?
Step one: get
anything,
scissors.
just to open
No, it's actually not a chips. It's a twin pop.
Oh,
Nice
okay.
banana twin pop.
Oh, cool. Oh, so yeah, it's called a pair of scissors. That's what it's called over here.
Oh,
I just punch it open.
Well, the popsicle's now out of the thing, so.
fantastic!
Okay, cool. I know,
If only we could Sigmund Freud on here. If we could bring Sigmund Freud back to life and have him be on Smudcast where he covered Maggie Mae Fish, I think it was pretty good episode.
Oh god.
So Freud,
amazing.
what do you think? And all you just see is two legs dangling as he's hanged himself. They're just like Freud.
And the last thing he did was write it in his own blood on the wall.
Yeah.
And then somebody walks in and sees it and just starts, oh god!
God.
As if it explains everything.
Oh man!
Oh
gosh,
Oh god. Oh man.
Oh my god! And then
Mamma
it's
mia.
gonna eat me. Yeah, okay.
Eat me.
All right, let's keep going.
I don't
Number
watch
712.
Maggie Mae Fish eating me
Got my
either in
beer.
the metaphorical or literal sense.
Oh, it's probably both. Got my beer, fish. Let's effing go. All right, let's go. Let's do it.
I want to tell you a story about a really cool friend that I have. This person dresses really slick, always says the right thing, dates the hottest people.
Oh my god.
My friend can win in any fight. And guess what?
Any fun?
That person is me!
I knew
That's basically the argument of Fight Club.
No, it's not.
No, no, it's not.
I haven't seen the film and I know that it's not.
We're done with the video. Thank you, everyone.
I think 20 seconds in, we're done. Right? That's about it.
Jesus.
Call it today.
Everything
Maggie.
from here on out, everything from here on out is going to be based on a false premise.
Yeah.
How does
Yeah.
she get that as an argument? That's not the argument of the movie.
No.
And even I know that.
If that was the actual argument of the movie, it wouldn't really happen because then like, it's just me the whole time, you guys. And no, you can't control Tyler Durden. Like, Tyler Durden is a guy opposing him. He just happens to be the same guy.
So
It was me, Tyler Durden.
we talk about what is the point of a movie, the theme of a movie, the argument of a movie. These are all very specific things. Usually, when you're talking about an argument, you're saying the movie is trying to argue something. Here it is. It's trying to show you one side of the coin or one side of an argument, and it's doing this thing. That technique, the storytelling element of I am this person, that's not an argument of the movie. That's a plot reveal of the movie. That's something that gets revealed later on. It's not a philosophical argument.
I've got a 2-litre bottle of Coca-Cola here, and because I thought I'm not going to drink, she's literally opened her mouth, and I'm probably going to head to my fridge and get some bottles of beer out.
I might need whiskey for this one.
Yeah.
This is worse than I thought. I might have Buffalo Trace whiskey.
I'm actually going to go.
Well,
get
we've
some
seen
drinks.
the first 10. We've watched the first 10 minutes of this on Morning Nonsense almost a year ago.
Oh, really?
And
Oh.
Well, I purged it from my mind like 1 minute afterwards. I don't remember any of
Good
it.
point.
For good reason.
Well, because it was the video we covered yesterday. Both me and Smud I'd at least watched 15 minutes of it beforehand, but neither of us could remember watching any part of the video until we did Smudcast. It was like, oh yeah, we did. Yeah, I was like, oh yeah.
You did the video? Really?
There was a video. I can't
Yeah.
remember. I just, yeah.
Yeah.
There's an idea of Maggie Mae Fish, something illusory, but nothing real. Although you can
I
hold
wish it wasn't real. Good God,
you can hold her cold hand and look in her cold, dead eyes, and maybe see that her lifestyle is probably comparable to yours. The thing is, she simply is not there.
No, my lifestyle is completely different because I live in a thing called reality. And
She might very well be a CIA simulation, like a torture program.
Yeah.
Is she a Google AI?
She might be.
Keep going.
I don't know what that word is, and I'm worried.
Oh boy. Are we ready to continue? Are we?
Yes, continue.
Well, I'm ready.
I'm ready. Yeah.
Let's do this.
All right.
Yeah, I got my alcohol now. So.
Oh, now everyone's got their booze. We're good.
I have a muffin that's chocolate, and that is all I need.
I decided to white knuckle to this one. Got to be sober for this one.
I was thinking that, and then it's been 10 seconds, and I'm like, nope. I'm gonna drink this to death.
20, but close enough.
So long as we're good.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Okay. Let's keep going. Tyler Preston, thank you, sir. 20 seconds in, and we're already stopping. I've seen parts of the video, and all I got to say to you is this. Hold on to your butts. Okay. Thank you, Tyler. We're all in this together. We're going to get through it as best as we can, all right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's go.
Guy telling us how cool someone is, then revealing that actually that guy is me. How come when we watch a movie
Message
that
coming
makes
in.
that argument, it's compelling?
through.
But if someone did
It's
that
not
to you
him.
in person, you'd think they're a garbage person. Maybe if we look a little closer at Fight Club, we can figure it out.
Well, yeah, people
the
find the
standard
Joker
reading
compelling.
of Fight Club is that Jack is schizophrenic.
Like people find the Joker compelling, but you still acknowledge he's a garbage person. Like, you wouldn't want to be friends with the Joker. Or at least most people wouldn't, because he'll kill you, and he's terrible.
Yeah. Which is why we know people who hero worship Harley Quinn are insane.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So
It's strange.
the definition she gave was schizophrenia. That's not what. If we were to go as close as possible to what the DSM
coming
might
in.
say, it would
Pass
say
it through.
something closer to multiple personality, not schizophrenia.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, that's just a strange misappropriation of it.
No, I'm not saying
Or
schizophrenia
at
is
least
completely.
misuse of the phrase.
Yeah, it's not completely off, but it's just the wrong. Like that. All it takes is 2 seconds to go Google what schizophrenia is, and read it and go, "Oh yeah, it's weird." It's still a dissociative disorder, but it's just not on the same level as what we're seeing here.
Yeah.
Anyway, Jake the Surgeon, thanks again. Completely off topic, but can we never talk about the hero's journey ever again? Artists keep regurgitating it every time I argue almost any topic on storytelling. Well, we use it just because it's a good reference point. But
It's a big one.
Yeah, to argue the individual points takes a little bit more time. So it depends who's making the argument. And dramatic structure is its own thing. Hero's journey and the points that go along with it are its own thing. So you have to understand why you're using it in what context. And like you don't use it for like Star Wars. Like, it doesn't work for the sequel trilogy. It works for the original trilogy, but in a very specific way. So it depends on how you use it and where.
Yeah.
Anyway.
There is no journey in the sequel trilogy.
There is always Rey. That's all you need to know.
There is only Rey.
She's there in everything.
The be-all,
yeah.
What was it? I was talking to I was having a Twitter interaction with Evan Monroe because of that new Cruella trailer that they brought out.
Yep.
What? Is a Cruella trailer? What?
Oh, Dunn, sit down.
Done.
I'll explain to you.
Where have you been?
They're unbreakable. No, but I just said because we're talking about how with characters, and I said it's either one of two character traits or stuff. It's either incredibly powerful planks of wood, Rey or Captain Marvel, or incredibly unhinged psychopaths, Harley, and obviously this new version of Cruella. And everything. I just thought these characters don't have there's no story behind them. They're just people who do things. and it just surprised me how you can literally now start placing, especially female characters, into those two categories. So yeah, with the hero's journey, they've just completely, like, writers have just completely given up with a hero's journey with women, and it's just women do things.
Yeah,
they're amazing.
They're
either
amazing,
blank,
or they're so disturbed in whatever they want to do, and they do it, and that's it. There's no other growth. There's no other conflict that hurts them or changes them. They're just that way as is, and they just let them run around with the plot of something. Yeah,
and do anything. And this Cruella is literally.
She's played by Emma Stone. WTF?
I know.
Yeah,
Emma Stone. Wait a second.
Oh yeah. To be honest, she doesn't do a too bad like Cruella like voice and impression. It's just that you just know how the movie's gonna go by looking at it.
I was like, why is Gwen Stacy playing Cruella DeVille? It's just like, wait, what?
Also, I've never been attracted to Cruella until I saw Emma Stone in this Cruella DeVille, and I'm like, well, horny time. Still gonna be a bad movie, but hey,
she is an attractive lady.
Mm-hmm.
So, admittedly, like when Victoria Smurfett played her in Once Upon a Time, she was kind of cougarish, I guess, or at least cougar attractive. Maybe. I don't know.
But yeah. But also remember that people are going to be like rooting for her. She also wanted to murder 99 puppies. Just keep that in everyone's head.
I kind of like the thing they did in Once Upon a Time where she's from a Gatsby world. That was kind of cool.
Gatsby is always a difficult story for people to digest. You either love it or you just go like, huh? What was that about? So
every single one of my literature professors are like, it's the greatest American novel. The best American novel ever made.
Message coming in.
Every single one of them. It's like a hive mind.
The best American novel ever made is Donald Trump, How I Made It, because it says on the back cover, the best novel ever.
It's the best novel ever. It's the best one.
It's the best novel ever.
Everyone knows it. All of the experts say so.
Here's Joe Crazy. Oh no, it's Fish. If I wasn't a religious man, I'd get intimate with Noose Chen. Oh, jeez.
She is not quite that bad. She's bad, but she's not quite that bad.
She's done. She's done. And the fact that you keep bringing her up every month is like, it strains our relationship.
Come on.
I get murderous rage. I get murderous rage at you, and it subsides for a month, and then she comes back again.
You're welcome. We all need a bit of rage in our lives.
Yeah.
Stay angry, my friends.
In a 1 month excursion away from rage, yeah. All right, Jake. Jake the Surgeon, if I'll do you one better, why is a movie that will likely try to be an empowering movie about a puppy murderer being made?
Simple question. Most of the women in Hollywood are puppy murderers.
Ooh.
Anyway, moving on.
Okay.
You look at Kathleen Kennedy and tell me she's not put a couple of puppies into a bag and lobbed them into a river.
I'm pretty sure she's put a couple of people in a bag and lobbed them to the river.
No one cares about people.
Yeah.
I think
Kathleen Kennedy doesn't care. We still have
like 50. We still have 56 minutes to go.
Yeah, I know. Let's go. Okay.
Tyler as an alternate personality out of either boredom or a sense of inferiority. And then the Tyler personality takes over Jack's mind for a while, does a bunch of terrorist stuff, but eventually Jack saves the day. Even though society seems like it's about to crumble, the bad
in the
man
movie
is
he
sent
does.
away. It's a happy ending.
In the movie, it's he saves the day. And have you read the book? It's a little bit different.
Yeah,
it's a little bit different.
I think she's partially illiterate. She doesn't read a book.
Oh no, you could have stopped it. She doesn't read. No,
she doesn't even watch the movies. Like
no, I think she skims Wikipedia and a couple of meme pages and goes, yeah, that's the plot.
Some feminist website or blog about like how
I don't know. I think
She watched a Family Guy cutaway gag. I went,
Yes.
yep, that's the plot of.
That's about it.
Fight
From my
Club.
experience, a lot of these SJW types, they don't really watch these movies. They kind of listen to someone who has. Like, they have a friend of theirs who has seen the movie, tell them about the movie. It's kind of like all these so-called SJW Star Wars fans, quote-unquote Star Wars fans, how they just have these weird takes on it as if they haven't watched the movie. It's because they haven't. It's because the only thing you know about the original Star Wars trilogy is what they hear from their friends. They haven't actually seen those movies.
YouTube original Star Wars trilogy clips.
Well, you're kind of wrong there, Mr. Literature Devil. You assume that they have friends.
No, they're just Tyler Durden friends. Like it's the only friends they have are themselves.
Well, we said on the Kirk Cameron Saving Christmas one that all Maggie Mae Fish did was type in Star Trek Kirk God to find that clip to make out that Kirk Cameron's like, make out Kirk Cameron's like Captain Kirk. So I don't put it past her to literally just look up movie clips on YouTube and get like the plot of the movie from that.
Yeah, so if you ever want to read the book, it is, I wouldn't say drastically different, but there's quite a number of scenes that don't happen in the film, and they change a lot of stuff. So definitely read the book. This is a great book. I think everyone should read it, if not see the movie at least. So go for it.
Yeah, we're looking at you, philosopher.
Yeah.
Hello.
Go for it. All right. Jake the Surgeon, I'm fine with child murder, but chick, cub, pup, kitten, puppy murder is the worst of the worst, and this is why we have John Wick. So
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, because John Wick is awesome. John Wick is, I don't know if there's anything, I think that it's kind of a tie between Dredd and John Wick, between the best action movie I've seen in my life.
It's John Wick. This spoiler.
It's obviously quite clearly Belly of the Beast is the best action movie.
I've heard good things about The Raid, though. I've heard
Raid is really good
about The Raid.
Well, you didn't mention The Raid was in that category, but The Raid is good.
I've never seen it. I've never seen The Raid.
The fact that no one's mentioned one single Steven Seagal movie obviously means you're all wrong. So you're all wrong. Nothing beats an old fat man standing still in the room while other people beat themselves up on his fists.
You can never forget Steven Seagal, the patron saint of Smudcast. Okay.
The patron saint.
Do not tread on deadly ground.
I would like to propose a different reading. That this is a story told by Tyler from the very beginning.
This is it. The beginning.
That the personality of Jack never existed within the fictional world. Tyler is real. Jack is a character invented by Tyler to manipulate us, the audience. Talking about a fictional character.
Wait a minute, hold on.
Hi, Glib.
No.
Wait, welcome, Glib.
That's not the case.
Glad you're here.
Well, I had to be here for that. Once I heard that you were here.
No, definitely.
I was like, oh, sweet. Now we get to talk about Fight Club.
So, hold on. What did she just say? I think I've lost something. So she's saying that Jack is the protagonist? Because here's the theory about Fight Club. It's never confirmed in the movie. But the theory about Fight Club is that the Edward Norton character, because he's never named, Edward Norton is actually Jack from these weird little poems they find in that little abandoned house. So we don't know. It's never confirmed, but that is a fan theory. So she's saying, is she just taking it? Maggie Mae Fish always does this. Like, she takes like these fan theories that seem plausible, might be true, as absolute fact. And now I'm left confused because I don't know exactly what she's talking about. So she's assuming that Edward Norton's character is Jack, and therefore is the guy who definitively made those poems, and that her reading is that he's the one making these poems, and that he made up other lives or something. Is that what she's saying?
I think it's mainly like.
Yes.
I thought it was Joe in the book.
It's like.
Well, in the movie, it's Jack.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I am Jack's liver.
Okay,
I'm Jack's liver. If I die, if I get sick, I kill Jack. Something like that.
Okay.
I mean, this is a character that has dissociative identity disorder. It's a pretty good characterization of somebody that has that condition. That's why it is the way that it is. It's for the sake of telling the story, not necessarily just to the audience, but also it's intrinsic to the character. So if there is any story to tell, it's because this character has this. It's like saying that the reason why Memento has anterograde amnesia, that Leonard or whatever has anterograde amnesia, is because it's a way to tell the story to the audience. Well, it is a way to tell the story to the audience, but the part of the director's reason and the writer's reason for engaging in that process in the first place is because of the thought of what it's like to go through that experience. Then you build a story around it. You go, what is it like to have a character that is your personality trying to tell you that you could be a better man. Your own personality trying to break out of the boring one that you've created, except now it's physically manifesting itself in the form of a psychological disorder.
So it's actually like all right. So basically, I think Not Dead actually points this out in the chat. She says like she's saying that Tyler is the actual main character and Edward Norton is the made up one.
It doesn't matter. Either way,
it
doesn't matter which one is real. The point is that the character's desire is to be like Tyler Durden and starts out as more like the narrator. Slowly, he's becoming more like Tyler Durden. That is a classic arc for a character. It's just physically manifested and visually and cinematically created based on the character's dissociation. The fact that he has another alternate personality that does things when he's sleeping, and that's the reason why he's tired all the time. That is the plot mechanic. She's saying that's for the audience. Yes, it is, but it's also exploring that idea in the first place. What is it like to have dissociative identity disorder? Would you wake up as another person in a different place? It's sprinkled throughout the movie. So yes, it is on one hand for the audience, but the story is told and interesting to the audience because of the concept and the material that precedes it. That's the original idea. That's what I take umbrage with here.
Yeah, this is a very difficult technique, not only in a book, but also especially in movies because it is visual. And as soon as you make it visual, all these rules of physics start applying to our brains. We look at a solid object, we say this person is physical and real, has gravity and all these other elements. And this is what is a problem in movies, not just with Fight Club, but Tale of Two Sisters, Memento, The Sixth Sense. All of these things are like, oh, this is real, this is real, this is real. And then there's a big reveal at the end and the movie tells us otherwise. No, that was a big lie. Now, you can get away with this in the books because your brain is doing all the work anyway. So you're visualizing and making up sounds and noises and everything else. So this is the problem in general for films, which you have to have a solid script to do or a solid script in the book. Luckily, Fight Club has that. Fight Club is fantastically pulling the rug under your eyes or the wool under your eyes and then pulling the rug as well with the reveal. So you need that for this sort of technique because a lot of people like myself who studied psych don't believe in stuff like MPD or DID, think this is a joke. So for writers to take that and run with it, you got to know what you're talking about and you got to do it in a realistic way. So if there was like some hazy effect or maybe the lens was not focused right, like that works really well to, oh yeah, what's this idea of Tyler? Like, what is that? That would work more. But it's fine with what it's trying to do. It's not perfect, doesn't have to be. It's kind of a hard... there's lots of philosophy running through the whole film anyway, so you're trying to process it as you go.
If only Tyler Durden had said, I'm an idea to Edward Norton's character, of a tattoo damage on his forehead.
There was an idea of a Tyler Durden.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that would be perfect, yes.
Yeah.
It can be a bit confusing, so we need to go over some concepts first. I've always felt that I'm not alone when I watch a movie or TV or a YouTube video.
You're always alone.
The screen is talking to me, even though I know they're just pixels flashing on a monitor and vibrations emanating from speakers.
I just have this image in my head of her kneeling in front of the TV and saying, "Yeah, speak to me."
By the way, that's me on the right there, all the way in the front.
Oh yeah,
it's my cameo in this movie.
Oh, nice.
I know that they're really here, that all these characters and places are absent. But I know that these images and sounds represent people, places.
Are you sure?
Everywhere that I go, Jesus is with me. So I totally understand what she's talking about. Praise the Lord.
Is she admitting to her psychosis? Like, what is happening here?
Everywhere I go, I have multiple personalities, so I really identify with Fight Club.
I'm crazy.
I beat myself up sometimes just to feel the pain.
Actually, it's called in it's called the headmates, where they actually say they have personalities, like different personalities in their heads. It's called
Maggie. There is an idea. Did you do there is an idea of a Maggie Mae Fish joke?
Absolutely.
And then
there's an idea.
The next scene after that is that she's sitting at the club, right, or whatever, like the pub, and she's having like a conversation with herself on both sides of the table about art. She's like, I think that's really like this, and then the other side of her personality is like, no, you're just a hoe. You just want to go out. You just love dicks. You love dick society. And then she's like, no, feminism is the way.
There's Maggie Mae Fish. I think that's what happened with Patrick Willems all the time.
You were about to say Patrick Bateman.
Because the same names, like Patrick Bateman, Patrick Willems. Interesting. Coincidence? I don't think so.
Patrick, is that a camera on the floor? You got a little YouTube channel running?
YouTube channel going on?
The main problem is that Patrick is an unattractive, bean-headed loser, whereas Patrick Bateman is Christian Bale, ill in his prime.
Yeah,
Same person.
Christian Bale's also Welsh, so I'm a bit iffy on that.
My name is Patrick Willems. I live in the American Gardens building.
I'm 27 years.
I'm 33 years old, but I look 72.
I believe in making a jerk out of myself on YouTube.
I drink a lot of alcohol because alcohol ages your skin and makes you look older.
It makes you look older.
I have piss yellow lighting.
Oh.
Shall we keep going with
I can't believe
let's just stop and let's watch something else.
I can't believe that Mahler prefers Rag's channel to mine. No.
Or
my God, he was
that
a
would be
watermark.
hilarious that Patrick Williams was a secret Mahler simp. That would be hilarious.
all I'm getting now is a really horrible image of Patrick Willems naked with a chainsaw running through an apartment.
As I go to Mahler's channel, I am struck with a wave of sheer panic. I realize
his subscriber count is higher than mine.
It's higher than mine. Yeah.
Here's Setter. Hey, Setter.
Oh my God.
Why is her eyeshadow always dark and unblended? Maggie, she does her own thing with the makeup. We don't get it. We
I like my coffee like I like her eyeshadow.
Stuck to the side of her face, yeah.
Dark and unblended.
Badly made.
Badly made.
I can just fucking imagine like the business card scene from American Psycho, but it's Patrick, and then Marlo gives him the business card.
But it's just like Quentin Reviews in a suit staring across from him, and then it's just VidCon in the background.
Perfect.
No, I don't just feel, I know that they are present. This is known as absence presence.
I just love it. I know that they are not real, but they're present. They're there. They speak to me. I'm like,
it's like,
are you sure you know they're not real?
That's like a scene in she's very much taking on this, like Munchausen's, this scene in the movie where like, I know they're real. I know has anybody here seen The Venture Brothers?
Absolutely.
Okay, you know the scene I'm talking about then, LitDev, where one of the characters loses a friend, and then the minute that they get over it, like it's like a little mini climax of, but wait, he's real. I know he's real, and just because there's a logic error that's disproven by the mystical guy, this character realizes that his friend that he's been talking to this whole time has been dead for real. It's not his ghost. It's just he's just imagining it. I feel like we're in that scene right now. She's like, I don't feel like they're real. I know they're real. And we're just that character putting the hand on her shoulder like, no, none of it's real.
You know, if Wisp was on because he's really into psychology, he would lose his mind right now. He would be like, are you kidding me? What is she saying?
I think
and the video would go on for 72 hours.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
It would be good, but it would go on.
I like it. I'd be like, oh my God.
Yeah, I just be sat eating my snacks going, yeah, Wisp is right.
Mm-hmm.
4
Some
days
movies
later.
are clever, though, even draw attention to their own absence presence.
We have front row seats for this theater of mass destruction.
Oh, Jesus fucking Christ.
But we is also us, the audience. The disembodied voiceover acknowledges that we're aware we're about to watch a show. then we impossibly float through walls in a complicated VFX shot.
Why
All
is she
these things are absent,
she's
but at the
confusing
same
Mr.
time, we
Robot
feel-
with that's like something in Mr. Robot. In Fight Club, it's just the two characters. The camera's not really there. Like that's the camera. They don't look at the camera and go, "Were you in on this?" And Mr. Robot literally breaks the fourth wall and says, "Listen, I need your help." Like the character talks to the audience. Right. The existence of the show in general might be one of the alternate personalities of the character that exists to compartmentalize and consolidate their feelings so that they can look at their life through this lens that's distant, which makes it interesting because then it engages the audience on a meta level. We're like, oh, I'm looking at it, but I'm one of Elliot's personalities. Fight Club doesn't do that. Fight Club wants to do just the two characters because it's about one person. The dissociation is about one person's issues and struggles, but with something like Mr. Robot, there's an ulterior motive. Like with the Project Mayhem thing of him changing the world is Tyler Durden wanting to create fantasy into reality, since he's the fantasy character. He is the thing that can never really be, and reality is the thing that's going to come crashing down on them. And that's the thing, is that the narrator wants to eject himself from this place. Like, oh shit, we're going to really destroy all of society. This is crazy. But this is all because I can't take responsibility for my choices.
Maggie just mixed up the narration of, let's say, the narrator in the book, which is just it's a limited omniscient, so it's not like complete omniscience, and she confused that with the camera. And I'm saying that's not hard to do, but you're screwing it up. Like the omniscient, the actual omniscient camera is omniscient. It's moving around, it's going through space.
Coming in.
But the narrator is not. So, and now she's associating the narrator with Jack or Joe, whatever his name is. So, like, either she's forgot that, or she's just confused what's going on with the perspective. I don't know. So, Cheddar, what are you doing?
Confused.
Cheddar, 10 seconds in, and I want to scream. Vodka time. Wow, that is not an uncommon reaction by the rest of the people on the channel as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm blessed with with a fortitude somehow.
Yeah, it's Dunn and myself are like water, baby. We got snacks and water. We're good.
High fortitude save.
Yeah.
Oh, I brought snacks and normal drinks, and then I just thought, "Nah, fuck this shit." Alcohol it is.
Oh, mate, you got your drinking license? You got your snacking license?
Yeah, mate. Yeah, bruv. Pop down shops to get it this morning.
Settle down, folks.
Feel their, as you can find in a basic film studies textbook.
The spectator knows very well that what he is watching is a fiction, but all the same, he maintains the belief, indeed his pleasure is dependent on that belief, that it is not. Cinema is thus founded on a regime of spectating at once knowing one thing and believing its opposite, which, as we have seen, is precisely the structure of disavowal.
The process of disavowal has been described.
That was a very strange way of explaining
suspension
of disbelief. Yeah.
Disbelief, yeah. Also, are we really at the level where we have to explain that these films aren't real?
Hey, guys, did you know that
they are not real?
Isn't really happen? Did you know that the film you're watching isn't real?
Yeah, carry on.
I guess you can always go to these academics if you want a more pompous, self-centered, and pretentious way of saying something very basic that we all know already. Like, that was just a really pompous way of saying, hey, this is willing suspension of disbelief. That's basically it. That's it.
It's not real. These are fiction.
My pleasure is focused on believing in the fiction. It's like, okay, sure.
Yeah.
So's the rest of us who watch movies. This isn't something new.
I mean, technically, he's not wrong.
I didn't watch Jurassic Park and go, oh well, how did they train all those dinosaurs to act so well?
Or just wait, it's basically going to be going into how it's a disavowal of fascism and terrorism.
I can't wait for that.
Wait. Oh, fuck it, I don't care. I really don't care. Carry on. Doesn't even surprise me.
Described by the formula. I know, but all the same, we know the movie we are watching is not real. But in order to enjoy a movie, we must believe on some level that it is real. By starting with, I know, we seem to acknowledge something or someone's point of view. Then by adding the but, we disavow what we just claimed to know is true.
What the
No,
hell?
why do you have to have such a backwards mentality of doing it? If a movie has the ability to sublimate you, that means that it's distracting you, essentially. It's baiting parts of your brain that in your normal surroundings you would be focused on. So if you're have you ever stared at an object for a long time and then the rest of the world kind of drifts away? It doesn't go away. It doesn't black out. It doesn't focus out. It doesn't fade out. Your mind just sort of focuses in on the object and it just calls attention to it. When magic is working, someone is using sleight of hand. They show you something and your brain pays attention. And it engages your brain in different ways, and different brain waves are activated, right? Like, that's how it works. So when you have a movie, which is a track of video and a track of audio, those things are aiming to replicate sounds that you would hear in an environment to bring you mentally into that environment. It's trying to bait you based on a story that you've seen, which means emotional patterns that you've seen in reality. It means decisions and things that precipitate other events so that you can see consequences. And it allows you to sit from a position of an observer. So you become this great observer and you sublimate into this experience. That's the suspension of disbelief. When you start to focus in on that object, except that object is a film, and it activates the part of the mind that has to do with all of the sensory input that is going on. You don't smell your way into a film. You don't taste your way into a film. You look and you listen. And that's the way that it works. Just like how with a video game, it sublimates you on a different level because you interact with it. So this passive form of entertainment doesn't require you believing that it's real. It only requires that you get distracted enough to forget that what you're looking at is fake.
Yeah. Also, I won't. So disavowal here is that just another word for willing suspension of disbelief? Because I think that's going to become important here. So
it is
just making sure that's kind of the same thing, right? It's the same exact thing, according to that definition they gave us.
Yeah.
I
that definition means nothing. She's going to forget about that definition in the next 5 minutes. Don't worry about that.
Just to put more length to this fucking video.
Here is Fran Mataraki. Thank you. At least her makeup isn't like Gorilla Glue Girls. Whoever said she looked good needs a free helicopter ride over the Pacific. Are we talking about Gorilla Glue Girl, or are we talking about Maggie Mae here?
Why not both?
What? Yes. Yes. The answer is yes. Thank you.
You're welcome, man.
Here's Wild Tanuki. This video can't hurt me because my whiskey is Suntory. You know what? I think anything from Suntory is delightful. So
I like Japanese scotch, but even though it's reasonably overpriced, I still feel like you're getting a little swindled by it. Like you have an extra $10 or something added on for no reason other than it's Japanese.
There is a certain mysticism with Japanese whiskey. Some of it's worth it, though. I would say Hibiki Harmony is right up there.
The good stuff is always worth it.
Yes, there you go. That's a good rule in life.
Yeah,
not just for whiskey though.
And the Japanese have a very I want to say purist way of looking at it, which I actually like and appreciate. But like, they're not the smoky, peaty kind of.
Traditionally, you're right. Yeah, they do have that though. But you're right.
I understand what you're saying. Yeah, absolutely.
There's a big. I know the history of
focus.
Yeah, I know.
Because like Lagavulin, you know what I mean? They make like one thing basically. It's like that's the thing.
Yes.
You know, and then each, I feel like, brand at this point is trying to distinguish itself by offering a slightly different experience. And you get the peaty, spicy side defined by Lagavulin, and then Suntory, I feel like, is always on this very refined, very filtered, very clean flavor. That's why I go to like a Macallan or something. You know what I mean?
Macallan is like the Levi jeans of whiskey, but yes, I totally understand.
Macallan's a nice pair of jeans. Just fit in right in. Nice warm out of the dryer. You know what I mean?
This reminds me of the Tommy Wiseau Levi's Juice commercial.
I feel like the and I know this isn't off topic, I'll just end it here, but if you understand from a drinker's perspective, the idea of how they refined sake, if I'm pronouncing that right, that reminds me of how whiskey is. Like there's the gradation, there's really high quality stuff, and that's the most pure flavored stuff. And then there's also like the little, here, this one's the non-clear version. It's pink. You know what I mean? It's a little cheaper. and then they have the everyday hot sake. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we could.
I get that experience from Japanese Scotch too.
It's a very subtle palate, but the Japanese are coming around to more robust flavors in Scotch. So, yes,
it's exciting.
Yeah, it's cool. Tyler Preston just gave a donation. Thanks, Tyler. What's more irritating, listening to Maggie Mae Fish's explanation of Fight Club or Freddie Prinze Jr. explaining Star Wars? Oh, boy.
Maggie Mae Fish is way smarter than Freddie Prinze Jr. Way smarter. She may be less sane and stable, but she's way smarter.
There we go.
And so I enjoy listening to her. I do not enjoy listening to this dumbass, like, fake surf jock character that's like coming out of, I don't know who Freddie Prinze Jr. is. I don't think he knows, but he's acting annoying.
George Lucas made it perfectly clear that the Force works by balancing itself out, so no one has any free will. That's good writing. Like,
he also said that only people born with the Jedi blood can be Jedi, motherfuckers.
How unfortunate for people love
I'm glad I have no idea who is
this
guy.
He's
basically the guy who married Buffy.
Yeah.
And he was what's his name? What's his name in Mass Effect? What was the buff guy?
James Vega.
James Vega. There you go.
James Vega. Yeah. He's also Iron Ball as well.
Who could forget Iron Ball? Yeah.
He's also Fred Jones in the Scooby-Doo movies, and he married the actress who played Daphne.
Yeah, Sarah Michelle Gellar.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Thank you for the donation, Tyler. Let's keep going.
Not every but statement is disavowal, and not every statement of disavowal requires an I know but. When a politician says, let's not make this political, they are...
Also, just a quick thing, I would like to mention that I have encountered this so much in uni that, like, modern quote-unquote scholars love to do this, have incredibly simple concepts that everybody already knows, and just phrase them in the most weird and nonsensical way possible.
Yeah. It's really funny.
So
They're like, look at
annoying.
how smart I am. I'm rephrasing what you already know.
It's like, I'm of the school of thought, if you have something smart to say it in such a way that everybody understands it.
Right? Isn't that's the irony?
That's what Einstein said. If you can't say it simply, then you don't know it well enough.
Yeah. Hiram Smith said something similar.
Well, this is what, if you ever read George Orwell, he's a very big proponent of keeping it simple as possible, not using complex words. We've learned this all throughout life, though. It's not just writing, it's in general. So a genius takes something very complicated, like Einstein, and he brings it down to like a simple equation that explains...
If you ever want to see the worst example of doing that, read Heidegger.
Heidegger is...
especially if you speak German, it's awful. It's horrendously complicated language.
Heidegger, his books are thick enough, but just to get through like 2 pages is like, oh my god.
Well, that's half a sentence.
Yeah, I know. Hegel is more Platonic for me, but Heidegger is, oh my goodness. He'll bury you. It's just, you have that book, it's like a chain to your leg for the next 3 years. Anyway.
Use it as a coffee table.
Yeah, no, it's with you.
They are disavowing the fact that everything is inherently political. Dishonest people love disavowal because it makes them seem rational. It's already weird that we're able to follow the average film, following characters from scene to scene across time and space. In Fight Club, Tyler and Jack are a weird, extremely literal manifestation of absence, presence, and disavowal. By the end of the movie, Tyler is popping in and out of existence, even within a single shot.
No.
The way characters pop in and out of existence when you change from one scene to another in any movie. By pushing absence, presence, and disavowal into the foreground, Fincher keeps our minds so busy, we forget exactly what it is we're even disavowing. Hint, it's terrorism.
Wait.
Message coming
Called it.
Patching it through.
Wait a minute. Hold on. So what disavowal means... So the thing you're disavowing, I thought a second ago the explanation was that you are believing something you know is not real, like for the sake of the movie.
Like, didn't I just
disavowing
say
means you accept
don't pay attention to that definition because she won't remember it?
I am embarrassed that like I know this.
As in, like, it's basically saying like I know that. It's basically just saying I accept this as fine by virtue of watching it in a movie. Is essentially what she's arguing, I think.
But that was her definition of disavowal, or the one she used. And then all of a sudden we're disavowing terrorism. Those are two different things. Like disavowing something is not disavowal, according to what her definition was. But apparently now, a few seconds later, a few minutes later, it's exactly the same thing. Okay.
Also, as well, the reason why Tyler Dunn can like quickly move from places to places because he's not real. He's part of the character's mental psyche. So of course he can. Fake. The laws of reality don't apply to him.
Yeah, which is one of the neat things about this movie.
I'm trying to remember the movie based off the book. Because the movie they wanted to destroy credit card records or debt or something like that. Whereas
in the movie,
the book was like a museum, I think. And like the message of the book is very like that's not the underlying element of the movie, so it's like okay. In the book, the ending is like he kind of created a franchise, so you don't need Tyler Durden anymore. You don't need the main character anymore to continue. It can run on as a machine on its own, and that's kind of the scary part of where it ends. Well, he finds himself in that mental asylum or whatever it was.
He's in the hospital, I think. He just thinks that he's in heaven. He thinks he died after that whole confrontation, but he's in heaven, or he's in the hospital. And then one of the doctors or the nurses says, "It's all taken care of, sir." Something like that. But just to let you know that everything's still on
exactly
going on, and that he has stopped nothing.
Yeah.
Here is Joe Crazy.
Interesting that this. No, go for it. Sorry.
Oh, no problem. Joe Crazy. The first two live-action Scooby-Doo movies are my guilty pleasure. Okay, everyone's got it. They are bad, but it's hard for me to hate them for some reason. You know what? Everyone has their guilty pleasure, whether it's a video game, a book, a porn actress, a car, a first, whatever it is. You know, that's totally fine.
Listen, at the end of the day, it's perfectly fine because Dunn likes Maggie Mae Fish videos. So
I don't.
Exactly.
I don't.
You have. Done.
I don't like.
Don't worry about it.
It's
okay. No, it's okay.
I like watching. I like watching people. I like reacting. I like people's reactions to Maggie Mae Fish videos because they're hilarious, and I'm a sadist.
Hey, look at this.
I disavow that disavowal of disavowing.
Oh.
Yeah.
Honestly, like in reference to like the Scooby-Doo movies, Linda Cardellini hotter than Sarah Michelle Gellar. Like just on an objective merit, like she's way more attractive.
Sure, yeah, go on then.
Partial to brunettes, and she's more curvy.
Also, it's been a very long lockdown, so honestly, any woman at this point in time.
I still have standards.
I've been locked in my house for 12 months. I haven't got any standards left. I'm a British. I had no standards to begin with.
Go eat some beans on toast and take a cold shower.
And let me pause. Film theory and psychoanalytic concepts like these are not inherently good or inherently bad. Personally, I'm glad.
Yes, they are. I disagree. There is plenty of crap in the DSM, especially DID, which is crap.
Wait, what is DSM?
Yeah, well, if you look at the DSM 3 and 4, whatever the time period was, huge jump.
Wait, what is the DSM?
Diagnostic Statistical Manual for the APA, the American Psychological Association. Okay. Yeah. So they renamed or recategorized or whatever they did MPD to DID. And the reason why that I could only understand, there was no evidence. There was no evidence between the 70s and the 90s of anyone having MPD. So they said, oh, maybe it doesn't exist.
No, I totally had it. You just don't know. You never met my other personality, Jerry.
Can you tell me what the acronyms stand for? Because I don't know the acronyms.
Hey, it's me, Jerry.
MPD is multiple personality disorder.
Oh, okay.
And DID is
Jerry.
Dissociative identity disorder.
All right, thanks.
So they put it closer to the spectrum of schizophrenia, but it's not actually schizophrenia. It's its own thing.
Okay.
So
it's certainly on the spectrum.
Yeah, there's they referred it to a fugue as well. People have these fugue moments where there's sort of there and
I don't know
what
happened.
Yeah.
I wasn't there. That was Larry.
I know what this
Larry's the one who murdered that girl.
I just didn't know the English acronyms.
Oh, okay, cool.
DID, dissociative identity disorder, is the current DSM definition of that particular condition. But the DSM is kind of bullshit, to be honest. They just update it whenever oh no, political intrigue. We can't say this is a disorder anymore.
Yeah, the big hoopla was in the 90s with ADHD and ADD and AD and all these other
that one
terms before. So now there's drugs for that for your kids.
Every kid had ADHD, and when they turned into the 20s, it's like, no, you're just an attention-seeking cunt.
No, they're just a future speed addict now.
Why do I get the feeling that this is going to be like the freaking Gold Man Mary Sue video at this point? We're already an hour and we're only 5 minutes into the video.
Because it's shit.
Well, the thing with the Gold Man is he actually structured his argument, as bizarre as it was and as silly as it was still structured. This is just Maggie going, I think this, then I thought this, now here's me dancing. And it's like, it's going to be random crap. So
stop dancing.
It's always been like that.
Stop dancing.
Why are you dancing so much?
Stop dancing.
Stop it.
Remember Scarface?
This is all over with.
I can interpret disavowal. Even a fictional narrative can reveal deeper truths about the human condition. What we need to ask is, what are the effects of a particular film's use of these concepts? And are the implications of the narrative true? So with that in mind, there's one more term we need to cover. Fetishism in pop culture.
What do you mean true? Narratives don't have to be true. They can totally be metaphorical. They could be completely untrue. They could be a lie. That's part of the narrative. That's why it's fiction.
But
it's a big lie.
Then some people would answer, well, I mean metaphorical truth, you know, the truth of the metaphor.
Well, they can suck my metaphorical dick.
So when we talk about fetishism, we talk about a bias, or we're already in the realm of bias. So people are preferred or want a certain thing, regardless of whether it's their cup of tea. That's the thing. So to talk about that in regards to, or within the context of Fight Club, I think is missing the point. There is no specific fetish. Sorry?
She's going to say that it fetishizes fascism.
Are you serious?
I can't wait. Going to say that.
Are you serious?
I think that she is. I think that she is, yeah.
Okay. Never mind. Never mind what I was going to say. This is way better. Okay, let's go with that. Let's find out.
Yeah.
That's my fetish.
Fascism is my fetish.
I just get off sexually. It's sexually gratifying to me. What?
Just as a short thing, maybe people don't know that.
There's all that leather.
Why does everything have to be sexualized these days? From people telling us that we shouldn't be sexualizing things. What's going on? What's going on here? Is that the script?
Is it over there?
I thought
The
they were
script?
all
Stop
about
dancing.
I thought this was basically the new hippie age where everybody could bone everybody.
Oh
no, it's not. This is the new. This is the pure. It's both at once. If it's gay, then you're a hippie. But if it's straight, then they're Puritans. If it's straight sex, they're like Christians. They're like, are you married? Blah, blah, blah. And then if it's gay sex, they're like, are you not married? Good.
Yeah,
I don't know how it works. I just know how it works.
Straight couples only have sex after death. That's how they view it.
Just as a short aside, a fetish can also be a thing that is outside of a sexual context, like an object that is believed to have magical powers, or kind of an object of worship.
But a fetish is inherently sexual.
Sorry?
A fetish is inherently sexual.
Mm-hmm.
How do you fetishize something non-sexually?
I guess
what
does that mean?
Itself, there's another definition for the word fetish. So a fetish can also be an object that is believed to have magical power or religious significance.
Or even it's present. Or
you mean like an idol?
That's another.
But that's a different word though. So you're saying that sex that's conflating sex with religion. That's a little weird.
No. you're mistaken when I'm saying fetish has two definitions.
Yeah,
the
but
word
I
fetish
understand
can
that.
mean
But
either sexual.
I don't
or
think
the
that
other
she's
thing.
saying that.
yeah, I agree with
I
Glib.
also don't think just.
We know what she's
I
not
wanted
saying.
to go a bit further.
You're completely right, by the way. Go on.
No, I just wanted to go a bit further. That I have seen it in modern academic context that they use fetish as something embodying or symbolizing something that is not necessarily sexual. So they have used that word to mean different things. So maybe she's using it in that way, though I suspect she means it's sexual.
I think she means that it is presenting it in an appealing way that camera fetishizes this specific element of the film.
Yeah.
That's my assumption based on...
It's
I've
still
seen
a
this video
stretch.
before,
It's still a
but
hard
yeah,
stretch, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like if you're talking about a fetish idol from the academic sense, which should be based on reality, right? Is the idea of something that was idol worship from these ancient cultures. So fetishization in that definitive sense would be like, let's say somebody makes a drawing of Kim Kardashian's ass, right? Because it represents fertility. That's what that would be. But then the fetishization in terms of objects that get turned into sexualities or non-sexual ideas that get sexualized is what I think I hear every time that they're talking.
Yeah.
Because if they're talking about religion, I think that the people that sexualize objects can have a tendency to have fervor about them. You know what I mean? That kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I understand what they're saying by that. But the problem that I have is that the movie doesn't make a pornographic fetishization of it. It's trying to represent the character's mental state visually. So you have a character that believes in the sexual libertine aspect. Like, I'm just going to fuck this girl. You fucked her. And he's like, no, I didn't. Those are two opposing parts of a personality. The prude part and the libertine part. And the prude part wants to be more like the libertine part. And integration is the theme of that story. So it's really annoying to hear fetishization, as in this movie is out to create a worship of, or a sexual fervor for, or whip up a sexual frenzy in the worship of. That I don't think is the intention. I think that it's intentionally presenting opposing aspects of the male, specifically human condition, that are at opposition with each other, and the disastrous consequences of not taking responsibility for that. I always thought that the narrative was about that character's not about the subtextual idea of this character's inherent homosexuality and men fighting each other as somehow gay. Like, that's not, you know what I mean? And I also don't think that it's explicitly about Jordan Peterson's hierarchy structure necessarily. It's just about a leader of a society. It's about, I think, in essence, it is translating this sort of primitivist man mentality onto the corpocrat 1990s and 1980s plastic constructed society that assumed you had to do X, Y, and Z so that you could get to a place, and the opposition which wanted to go back to monkey. You know what I mean? I think that's more than what she's saying.
I follow.
The
reason why I brought up the other definition, and also I wanted to go a bit further, is because in academia I've encountered the word fetish or fetishism being used. It's almost has become a mix of the two definitions, where they leave the sexual bit out, but they claim that films, or the idea in films, can be the embodiment of those ideas and tell you that's good or that's bad, and in that way fetishism I've seen used as well.
I agree.
Yeah. And so maybe that's what she's coming at, but it's also confusing.
Get what you're saying.
Not presenting anything clearly. She doesn't present anything clearly.
I'm just waiting for fascism, to be honest with you. Just waiting for that.
Let's find out.
Yeah, just wait.
Culture is understood as someone getting overtly horny at the sight of an object, like a pair of sexy red shoes. Cultural theorist Thomas Yingling wrote that it's more useful to think of fetishism as it has been defined in psychoanalysis, not as the overvaluation of some part object, but as a denial of lack.
That's an extremely useful definition. Thank you.
Yeah. Fetishism, as it's been defined, is a psychoanalyst Not as the evaluation of some object,
Denial of
but as the
lack.
denial of lack. Lack of... Like,
What
lack
do you
of
mean by that?
evaluation? Or
I get it. Okay, so the fetishization of something is to deny that you actually lack that thing that you want. You want to believe, I because I'm lacking something, therefore now I obsess about it. Like, like a foot person.
Oh.
They're like, I don't have a woman's feet in my hands, so I just want to see all the feet. It makes sense to me in a certain way, but in that case, I hope she's going to tie that into how the corporate life what was being offered by people that were the cultural experts and that built society, the people that were like, this is what you need to be happy. All of those things were unsatisfying inherently. That was what Fight Club was arguing, was that life itself was going to be unsatisfying as it was delivered by the people that had the IKEA catalog. You know what I mean?
The problem I have with this definition is this is in a book from the 90s, page 159 of a book titled Fetishism, Identity, Politics. So this is well into the book. Maybe they're identifying their terms in another way. And I don't know whether this is a psych textbook or a sociology book or whatever. But they're going about it in almost backwards. If you're bringing up a term from your title and you're defining it later on within the context of identity and politics, you don't bring in psychoanalysis. That is just going to confuse the hell out of everyone. So whatever this book is, I don't think this is a very good definition of what she's trying to say. And why or how she latched onto this book and this term is like, okay, it's not ineffective. It's just very specific. And I've never heard it termed this way before.
It has been defined in psychoanalysis, not as the overvaluation of some part object, but as a denial of lack. For example, the American flag is a fetish object, often used to deny a lack of freedom. How can you say
that has nothing to do with psychoanalysis.
To deny a lack of freedom.
What?
They fetishize American
She
flag.
took a term from psychology and completely misused it.
Symbols are not fetish icons. That's not the same thing.
By
the way, the sexualization is very Freudian. If you actually were using psychoanalysis, the idea
Yeah,
that
but no one's
all these
fetishizing a
psychoanalysts
flag and getting aroused.
I mean, yeah, but okay, you've studied psychology a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Right. So, like in psychoanalysis, their whole thing is the whole Reich. The Reich joke is that the lack of orgasm in the Freudian system of psychoanalysis is a lack of energy that is pushed outwards. If you get what I'm saying, expressive energy. And with all of this, it all feels to me like it goes back to the Freudian thing of repression. Like all these people are discussing media in terms of fetishization is their projection. Their Freudian repression is coming out by their analysis. So all these people that are analyzing and saying, oh, look at this fetishization, look at the sexualization of these objects. It's like, no, you're doing that. These things are trying to be transparent descriptors. They're trying to be as direct as possible with the symbolic transmission so the message isn't fudged up. Yet people are seeing things that aren't there and justifying it with things like psychoanalysis or changing the definitions of words. Because they're actually seeing it through this lens and they want to justify it more than they want to justify the lens as being objective or not. It's like,
I think the association
validate me, not my ideas.
I think the association is they're talking about the subconscious or unconscious, and they immediately go to Freud because he's the first guy who started talking about that and brought sex into it. And if there's anything I remember from the left or SJWs, they will not shut up about sexuality and identity.
Yeah.
And applying it to everything.
But using their own technical whatever rule book, that would be their repression. I mean, that's why I constantly think about this in terms of people that are moral busybodies for society in a position that's similar to Anna Freud. Do you know anything about the Anna Freud story?
Anna, oh yeah.
She was like a virgin until she was in her 40s or something like that. She was sexually repressed growing up as the daughter of Freud with that sort of Electra complex with being in charge of a legacy that wasn't hers, that was her father's. Like, there's all the complexes that he would have talked about in her work, and then the oppositional work was about how do you get away from that? How do you adjust yourself? If the idea of psychoanalysis and the therapy is to lead to a well-adjusted human being, which is hardly defined, because that's part of the whole cultural criticism of the 90s, like, and late 80s, like the Less Than Zeros and all these books, you know what I mean? They're criticizing the system that's defining what well adjusted is. And the initial criticism comes from the repressive, sex negative form of psychoanalysis, that deviancy what is something to be repressed. And then the opposition of that is that it exposing it and making it and contextualizing it is the thing that is important from the psychoanalysis aspect. And they're not doing that to themselves, but they're projecting subconsciously because they're not self-aware of what it is that they're doing. You know what I mean? It's like when it's the Sargon's Law thing, where cultural ideologues always try to accuse you of doing whatever they're doing, or accuse the opposition of doing whatever they're doing. It's the projection. I always say those who spout morals the most are usually the least moral. Like the movie, for example, somebody could say, and I hope she does, I hope she brings up that, like, the way that they treat Marla is misogynistic or something.
She will. She will. She does.
Because
I've
the thing... This. Right. Yeah. But, like, so anybody reading the story as a straight movie, as a story, like the classic, like, here's what it is. Marla is clearly the of the character. It's a love story. They fall in love. It's a sweet love. It's not cynical. That's the whole fucking hilarious part of it, is that in all of the satire of the Fight Club movie, in all of the negativity and the marriage shit, and I'm a boy and I'm gonna go out and camp out with my friends, no girls allowed, that satirical thing, there's a genuine love story at the end of it where they get together. That is, you could dissect it into a cultural thing where it's representative of how men look at women and all these things, but that would be negating how this individual character, this individual man, as a being and as a thing, is dealing with the situation that he's in, and as she was saying, the lack of love. So the way that he's going to approach it is he hates her for all these things that she's going to point out that has as flaws, because everything that Marla says about the narrator, about Jack, is something that Tyler Durden says about him, which is why she physically connects with Tyler Durden, and he has resentment towards her from and characterizes himself. If you want to talk about psychoanalysis, he talks about his alter ego having sex with Marla as his mother and father. So he has this boyish aspect of his character that's trying to grow up, and this alter ego is forcing him to grow up. Like, that's going to be interpreted sociopolitically in this video by a cultural critic, by a movie critic that has a socio-political angle they're trying to push, as opposed to appreciating what's actually there, which is why I push the theory of Sargon's Law in cultural criticism in these YouTube videos, and I use Renegade Cut all the time as the perfect example of this. The thing about Maggie that's interesting is that there's something very personal about it that's not put together, that seems like her train of thought. Like, she's just going to say all this stuff, you know what I mean? She's going to try and cite everything and be all academic, like the rest of this bread tube, whatever. But she's doing it in this manic way.
A lot of these the Patrick Willems types and the Maggie Mae Fish types, they do that all the time. They use like these different terms like disavowal. This use willing suspension of disbelief. Most people understand that one because that's a term that's taught in schools. But no, they always have to find some other way of pronouncing something. They
want to confuse the plebs.
Yeah, they want to use a word that no one uses. Or no one has heard of, so they can sound smarter. And that person's smart. They use a word like disavowal. Like, I don't know what disavowal means. Obviously, they know more than I do.
So what you saying? They fetishize big words.
Hold on. Stop.
Done.
One at a time. Dunn, you go first, and then.
I'm just gonna say that anybody who has watched Spy Kids 2 has heard the word disavowal before.
I heard Trump use it.
What were you gonna say?
I was just going to say, I find it funny because obviously she talked about fetishism. Is it like the lack of something? Do they like fetishize sexuality because they're not having sex, and big words because they're not actually that smart? So
yes,
like,
that one, definitely.
It's true.
They make them sound. They have to make themselves sound smarter than they are, so that people will pay attention to them. If they were not concerned about sounding smart, they would use common vernacular, things that everyone understands.
But they don't. They just use these over the top words, and we just sat here going, "Oh, so you mean?"
Well,
like,
it's
round mobility object, and we go a wheel. It's like
we're still about
we get it.
20 seconds into her definition with an example. We still don't know exactly what she's getting to, so it's kind of she's taking the long route there. And I'm fine with that. I just want to know what the result is, how she comes to this conclusion.
Yeah.
I'm not free when this piece of dyed cloth that stands in for freedom. By continually filling his life with Swedish furniture, Jack fills his life with fetish objects that comfort him.
They're not fetish objects.
These are objects that you need.
These objects are called furniture.
That's part of the power. That's part of the message of Fight Club, where people are putting there's so much emphasis in things and objects and things that are not them. That are ultimately meaningless.
So wait, are you saying that Fight Club is telling us that a Swedish furniture is extremely sexy?
Yes. That's right.
No. According to Maggie Mae, it's not sexy. It just has an emptiness. Like you need a rocking chair, but you don't have one. So you fill your room with all these things you need, but you
exactly. You have no purpose. You have no purpose, and because you have no purpose, you kind of feel void. Because people need purpose. They need things to strive for, things to fill their lives with. And the thing is, with modern day people, like the main character here, who have no actual purpose in their lives, they fill that void left behind with Swedish furniture and handcrafted bowls from the hardworking people wherever and all that stuff. Doctor Who's bathing towel, the Star Wars R2-D2 swimming trunks, that sort of stuff.
But I think we're beyond. I think it's worse than that. I think we're beyond this point in history where I remember standing at the precipice of the Trump administration, right, and thinking like, okay, what's the next thing that's like, what's the next cultural, like, civil rights campaign? Like haven't we already said everything is bad already? Like we've already done, but no, we have to keep doing that. We have to keep chasing a dragon of enemies to disavowal from. You know what I mean? You have to find something that's bad. Okay, what's bad? Well, sex relations, gender stuff like that. Stuff that rights that people had wasn't enough. It was then cultural norms that had to be changed. It was behavior sets. Yeah. We have to change everything, and it's gotten to a point where you have to change your body. You can't just be whatever you are. You can't be natural. You can't be the biological human. You can't be. I'm looking for a mate because I have this drive to have kids eventually, and sex is a need that needs to be filled, and food is a need that needs to be filled, and I have to go to the bathroom somewhere that won't poison me. And I need water that I didn't poop in. Like that, it's so basic, right? But that's not enough. You can't just survive and then find interesting things to do that make you a more complete human, which is what I think traditional society is. You have to be weird. You have to be an outlier, but you have to be an outlier within a rubric that exists. And then there's a evolutionary advantage to being weird now because the culture has set in stone this like progressive stack thing. So the more transgender you are, the more gay you are, the more woke you are, the more points you get in this system. So what is funny is that the fetishization of objects in the 90s, which was the end of commercialism, the beginning of internet stuff, materialism from that era has changed and is unrecognizable by someone like Maggie Mae Fish. The modern IKEA is now your pronouns. It's now how you represent yourself. What you stand for is more important than what you do or what you have. That's the new social hierarchy. How are you cool? It's not wearing a Letterman jacket. It's wearing this flag. It's having this identity. It's how you wear this thing on your sleeve. It's like, here's my pronoun. Why don't you want to display your pronouns? Because I also don't display my fucking rank from my guild on my shirt. I'm not a fucking... my identity is not my fucking khakis. That's the whole message. So missing the message of Fight Club in that your identity is not your job, it's not your rank, it's not your title, it's not your gender, it's not your pronoun. You're not your fucking khakis. That's the whole point of the character saying, like, you are a person. And then what is a person? Well, it's the same decaying organic matter as everything else around you. You're not fucking special. But then that gets turned on its own head by the end of it, because that's the midway revelation. The end revelation is that what matters is that you take control of your life, and that if you care about somebody, then you care about them. You let yourself live in that moment. Every movie ultimately ends in the same place, because every movie really, and movie making and storytelling is somebody, I think, this is my little tinfoil theory. I think people that see the world as a place that is kind of a shitty place, or they see something great in it. They see something that they want to copy directly, and they want to present it to other people because it's supposed to change reality on the other end, right? And I think that that's what's being mistaken these days, is that people are now chopping up these movies like Fight Club and saying, here's what I think it means, and then putting out a video and trying to alter the meaning of it. Like how in 1984 they used to change words and stories and stuff so that the meaning would change. They're trying to do that. They're trying to alter the media after it's already happened. They're trying to change definitions of words on you so that new things have different meanings, so that you don't even see the same picture anymore. And it's really annoying because we're just like, no, that's not what it means. This is what it intended to mean. It meant you're not your fucking khakis. You're just a regular person. Stop being so fucking egotistical and take control of your life and take back the power to yourself that you think that these objects have over you. That you think that a Calvin Klein ad has over you, that you think a YouTube ad has over you. Like the modern version of it is all immaterial because we're past materialism in our society. Now we're virtue signaling based on numbers. Like how good is your climate change numbers for your country? How, you know what I mean? How much have you donated to the Indiegogo for this person?
We're gonna be here for a while.
Done. What did you think this is going to be a 5 minutes and done video? Good God.
No, I was thinking that it would be that we would at least be like 15 minutes in by the hour and a half mark.
I wanted to add that like all the stuff that like Glib was talking about is like, I'm so happy that they are like so alien here. Like none of that applies here where I live, at least so far. I know that my government made it illegal to be legally trans, so I doubt these things would happen to a degree.
It's like I think remember when trophies and Xbox Live achievements came out for the first time? Any of boomers? Like suddenly people were like, "Oh, look how many achievements I have!" It's like there's nothing you gain from that. Like the points can't be exchanged for games. There's nothing you can materially gain from it, but it represents tinsel. And I think there's people that are in the military that recognize like people that chase ribbons and awards and stuff. It's like that's not what was important. What's important is what the thing that you did. This is a representation of something that you did. You know, so human beings, we think that, and then we do things. And then other people go, wow, that was cool. Or they go, wow, you're a piece of shit, or whatever, or they ignore it. And that's just the process. It's not, you don't have to over intellectualize existence. And we see that all the time. That's the ultimate red pill from Fight Club, is that it's Tyler Durden, the image board connoisseur, versus Edward Norton at the beginning of the movie, who's the Redditor, who's like, oh, I got to get my upvotes. I gotta get my karma.
Yeah. People spend too much time chasing after the 99% that don't give a shit about you, instead of actually doing something for the 1% of people who do actually care for you. I think that's a problem. So I agree with Gleb.
Let's keep going.
Collecting all these texts distract from what is lacking in his life. And clearly he is lacking something.
Please just give me something.
If only Jack had a friend to tell him what's lacking in his life. Just as Jack fetishizes his furniture, audiences participate in fetishism while watching movies. Film theorist Christian Metz wrote on the subject
fetish.
in the 1970s.
Doesn't jerk off
on screen within
everything's a fetish, Maggie Mae Fish.
This again.
What? How do you fetishize the female body? The female body is inherently sexual. Everything about the female body is sexy. So what the fuck is wrong with you people? Like, that's
Even
the
the
whole
small
point.
toe, even the toe, the one toe.
Why not?
Well,
If there was nothing sexy about it, then how would we keep existing?
Quentin Tarantino had Salma Hayek put her toe in his mouth in From Dusk Till Dawn. So
if this evolutionary strategy doesn't work, then why are there so many whores?
I don't know. Also, I love it when YouTubers do that. Just have a quote from a book, never explaining why it's correct or why it matters. Anything, just saying, "Hey, look, here's this quote. It must be correct. It's in a book."
Yeah. I wonder if they feel the same if I put a quote from Mein Kampf up in my next video. Would they be like, "Yeah, well, let's take it as fact"?
Hitler Adolf from 1933.
Yeah. Take one where he talks about the First World War, because a lot of that he's actually correct on how horrible it was. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, but I mean, look at this. Fetishism occurs. This could have been said by an absolute loon for all we know.
According to Adolf
the guy could have wrote
Penguin
this
Press.
in feces. Yeah.
1933. Democratic socialism. Blah blah blah. Yeah. Anyway.
Exactly.
Piece of the fetishizing of the body of the femme fatale in film noir. But, says Metz, fetishism operates also at a far more basic level. The image
more basic than finding women sexy and making them look sexy. Okay.
As image and the cinematic apparatus as apparatus are both fetish. Because
everything is fetish! I hope that when you go to the movie theater, you're wearing leather gear, guys.
As they stand there, make present what is absent. As such, they disavow what is lacking.
No, without the cinematic apparatus, they can't make a movie. So
I love this idea of disavowing what is lacking. Like, first off, what is this word of usage of disavow? What is that? Disavow is like a political thing.
Reject.
It's like you reject
what is lacking.
But it's usually someone's actions. And like it's like I disavow this unit, meaning I do not align with them, right? Mm-hmm. But in this, it's like I reject what's lacking, and how? Okay, so here's the thing: how is if I look at a picture of really good food that I can't afford, is that actually making up for what is lacking? Am I fetishizing that, or do I just really want it? Where is desire in this psychoanalysis equation? And it's like, remember how I said earlier, the Freudian repressive angle removes the ability for you to actually achieve your desires. So instead of achieving something and going, I want this, what it's doing is it's saying, I'm rejecting what I don't have. Success is rejecting what you don't have to these people. Or that is a denying like a lie. It's like lying to yourself is what they're saying. A film is lying to yourself because you don't have something in reality.
Yeah, I didn't have the ability to watch this film before. I don't know. It's just a very silly thing.
Pretty much.
Also, cinematic apparatus. Apparatus are both fetish because they stand in what makes absent. No, without all this stuff, we can't watch the movie. If we didn't have camera equipment, they couldn't film the stuff. It's not a fetish. It's just we need it to film things and watch stuff.
It's like I'm saying, they want to make everything about fetish. They want to make it weird sex worship, sex religion.
Just as Jack fetishizes furniture to deny the lack in his own life, we fetishize the cinematic image to deny the lack of reality.
Stop using the word fetish. Okay, so here's the thing. Maggie Mae Fish she's like the thirstiest YouTuber I've ever seen, first of all. Always about how everyone's just in love with each other and all these, how Obi-Wan Kenobi is the real father, all that stuff like that. So they're always shipping people together. But on the other hand, when it comes to like women and women's bodies and how men are attracted to women, suddenly it becomes bad. Suddenly that's wrong. It's like waving their finger at you. You're just psychotic, evil men who idolize women's bodies and just objectify them.
Well,
hello, have you met yourself?
Yeah, exactly. It's like the person we watched yesterday. She was just obsessed with gays and lesbians. Everything was fine with romance and everything as long as it was gay and lesbian. But if it came to straight, it's like no, that's going to be pushed to the sideline. You can't have that. It's a kids program. You can't have those sort of relationships. It's like, why is it fine for one thing? It's like, oh, because you just fetishize that stuff, isn't it? That's all that's what it is. Yeah. These people are weird. I don't like these people. I'm glad they're far away from me.
Yeah. Agreed.
Represent image. I know Spider-Man is a fictional character, but when I see him die, I feel like a real person has died. If only we had a movie to tell us what's lacking in our lives. Fight Club is a story told by an unreliable narrator whose goal is to explain away his own guilt and justify the position he's established as the leader of a terrorist organization. An organization he knowingly and willingly created because he wants the rest of the world to be as miserable as he is. The narrative.
Oh, what?
No. You not see the parallel. The parallel of the. He start in the movie. He basically says, I think he comes out right out and says it, that he's starting a franchise of fight clubs everywhere. So they're kind of equating the idea of this corporatism and the control corporatism has over people. Wanting the perfect IKEA couch or something like that, and they're equating it to let's just make it into terrorism, a terrorist franchise. That's what he made. And he's saying, and you kind of see that, and the parallel of it is that this is basically it's the same. It's just more overt in the carnage and the destruction it does with Project Mayhem. It's more overt, but it's kind of at the base principle. It controls you, and it becomes and it damages you as a person because the people who follow Project Mayhem, they have given themselves over to the franchise of Fight Club, just as the main character gave himself over to the franchises of the corporatism that in the beginning. And it's just as damaging, except the Project Mayhem part is more overt. You can see it clearer. You can see it clear in the arrangement, the psychosis. You see that much clearer than the soft corporatism that you sink yourself in when you're buying the handmade, handcrafted, blown glass of wherever.
Yeah,
indeed.
Narrative is told and controlled by Tyler. Jack isn't Tyler's alter ego or imaginary friend. In Jack, Tyler has created the perfect candidate for Project Mayhem, confident that we will see ourselves in Jack, that we will identify with Jack's insecurities, doubts about society,
I am Jack's
and fear of
insecurities.
self-examination. In a 1999 interview, Fincher speaks to Tyler's embodiment of disavowal.
You have to have a guy that's going, well, I can see your point, but it seems to me you can look at losing all of your stuff both ways. Yeah, it's all of your stuff. Yeah, it took you years to collect. Yes, they were all tasteful, interesting choices, but there's another side to it.
Tyler anticipates our moral reservations, lays them out in a very childish terms, and then goes, but, and gives Jack a prepackaged, simplistic counter-argument.
I say, let's evolve. Let the chips fall where they may.
Okay.
Well, look, just because you can sympathize with a guy or understand where he's coming from does not mean you agree with him completely. That's kind of where you get the compelling three-dimensional villain from, the anti-villain even, where you get the idea of this guy who you can possibly even connect with or understand where he's coming from, why he's doing the things that he's doing, even though they're completely villainous. But you don't agree with him. You can understand them, but you don't agree with him. It's pretty much essential when you're connecting with when you're giving a sympathetic villain take or a three-dimensional villain take. You can have the audience connect with them. You can have the audience sympathize with them because of where they're coming from. There's a lot of villains like that, but just because you connect with them, it's because you sympathize with them. Does not mean they are you or representation of you or you identify with them or you're supposed to. It doesn't mean that at all. This is characterization.
Yeah,
that you even agree with. It could just be like just a person like that has a very good style of argument. You just don't agree with the methods.
Whatever that means. Tyler needs to invent the character of Jack to give us a friendly, gullible fetish object to
he's an object.
He's an... Oh.
Now, Jack is a fetish object?
Now imagine you're in the psychiatry office. You're like, doctor, I have voices in my head. I'm seeing a character and he's telling me to do all these crazy things. And he goes, yeah, that's a fetish object. You need to stop fetishizing objects because it's a denial of your lack. What? Okay.
Here,
so anyway, Project Mayhem.
Lamps instead. Be safer for you.
Identify with. Jack is the image we can attach ourselves to so that we can tell ourselves that we, just like Jack, were innocent all along.
What?
We are free to enjoy the violence, even up to and including terrorist acts. Because in the end, we see Jack's image standing there, victorious. The image of Jack remains,
9/11.
although he now admits that he's Tyler. Jack's image is present, but Jack is absent. Tyler's image is absent, but Tyler is present. By ending on Jack's image, we deny the lack of morality in what Tyler has done.
Everything's gonna be fine.
We can deny that this power fantasy is appealing to guys like you and me because
No. The idea is that the narrator asserts himself over Tyler Durden in the end, and he's even willing to shoot himself in the head. But what happens is Tyler Durden decides he's going to do something, and then the other part of his personality doesn't want to do it. And in the end, the side that was the evil side that actually succeeded lost the overall war, but won enough to set in motion something that the protagonist couldn't defeat. That's really interesting to me. I like victories like that in movies where they win, but they didn't win everything. They didn't stop the thing that's going to happen. So whatever happens from this happens. But that's the reason why it ends on the note, you met me at a really interesting time in my life, right? Or what is it? Interesting? What's the word that he uses? Something like that. A unique or whatever it is. It's because it's a weird. It's uncertainty basically. So, but he decided that he didn't want to end the world and control the world and do all these crazy shit. He just wanted to assert. He wanted to go through this experience so that he could find himself and enjoy his life. And he's like, oh, I want to be with Marla and I want to enjoy my life, and like that's it. It's very simple. Yeah. And that culmination isn't enough for the other part of his personality, so it has to be killed off. I don't understand why it's so complicated. But no, if we take it from her perspective, it's Tyler's the real personality, and Jack is a fetish object used to just take all the blame. So like take away all the blame. Like, oh, it's like in The Office where you have Creed Bratton, and he's like, every time that Creed Bratton takes on debt, he transfers it to this other guy. Right? Like that's what she's insinuating. Creed Bratton is the real one. This other guy is just the guilt put in the form of debt.
Oh dear. I'm just remembering Creed Bratton now.
He's really funny.
Let's keep going, shall we?
He's making soup.
Or at least the image of the good guy is the one left standing in the end. Also, that's not how schizophrenia works. Fight Club is a movie that's clearly designed to be watched multiple times.
Yeah.
But with each viewing, we disavow more and more. The first viewing is exciting.
What do you mean
we,
disavow?
the audience, experience revelation after revelation along
which definition
with Jack.
disavow are you using
up
right
until
now?
we learn that Tyler is
Why do I
Jack.
have to disavow?
Usually when we watch
just
a movie
disavowed
for a
all
second
that
time,
snot.
we're able to break down a story's structure a little bit better and recognize key themes more clearly. We start to see the strings. It's why the Sixth Sense is kind of boring on the second viewing, because now you're just paying attention.
Yes, all things that guys like are bad. Okay, why'd you have to make a 56-minute video about this?
I'm still trying to get the fact, but she wants me to disavow things that didn't happen.
Yeah. Or
like, why?
She's imagining messages in the movie that don't exist.
I disavow the destruction of Alderaan. You know, I don't because
wrong, obviously.
It's like
I disavow nothing. I regret nothing, and I did nothing wrong.
Yeah,
I murdered those Bajorans. I sent out my men to go into the street and kill Bajoran scum, and they came back covered in blood. But they felt clean. And why did they feel clean, Major? Because they were clean. Sorry, I just had to invoke some energy. I was dying inside.
Okay.
Yeah, I just like, yeah, but we've got to disavow these things. No, we don't. It's not real. It wasn't my fault those skyscrapers that didn't even exist were blown up.
So, guys, when you watch a movie the second time, it's not as exciting.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah,
interesting. No. Every time he says he sent out men to kill Bajoran scum, I get immense enjoyment.
Tell that to people
Glib
who
gets
watch Lord of
a
the Rings
tingle.
at least 2 to 3 times a year.
Yes. You know, I love Cardassia. Everything I do is for Cardassia.
I love Cardassia.
So here's the thing. I fucking hate Bajorans. I fucking hate Bajor. It's an embarrassment. The stupid Vedics.
Embarrass me every day.
Patching it through.
What kind of society builds itself around religion in the future? I mean, come on. No, I'm just kidding.
Society.
Wait, so
despite the gods are
if
real.
you watch a movie
Yeah,
more
right.
than once, it's boring. So all those people who said they watched TLJ dozens of times and found it better each time were liars. Then, thank you. Yeah,
I disavow those liars.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much.
In fact, I disavow all of the vowels, A, E, I, O, N, U, especially. Sometimes Y.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Here is Francis Board Coppola. Thank you, sir. Fight Club is about dealing with the fact that you want to do that weird chick from high school, so you quit your job. Good cooch breaks a man. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's one of the ways of looking at it. It's just like, however you want to paint the picture of what is actually there, it works, you know? It's about a guy that just fucking hates his life and his job. Simplify it, boil it down. It still works. What doesn't work is boiling it down to a fetish object that is used to just like take away his guilt. It's because it's not about Tyler. Tyler's an invention. Clearly, by the end of it, we see that.
Mm-hmm.
This is like the Deckard is a replicant thing all over again. Deckard is a replicant, and he uses the object of a woman to make himself feel more human. It's like, what the fuck? That's not the story.
Yeah.
That's you thinking. That's you telling me the story. That's not the story.
No, that's you telling me the version of the story you think is happening.
Which is wrong.
It's not even. Yeah, it's like
Maggie Mae Fish's whole stick is very easy. So here's why what men like is evil and wrong and dangerous to society. It's just basically just making that video over and over again.
Why does she hate men so much?
Why will no one date me?
Did she not have like parental units of the penis variety?
I guess it's kind of like that feeling you get when you're around like a big saber-toothed tiger or something like that. Or, those things that don't exist. You're around a predator, like a wolf or something that you know is going to kill you.
Or a male feminist. A male feminist.
Yeah, a male feminist, exactly. that feeling you get when you're around a male feminist, like you don't really want to be there with them because you think they're going to drug you or something. It's kind of like that. I'm pretty sure the Maggie Mae Fish exudes that sort of aura 24/7.
Well, if you had an experience where the only men that you were around were male feminists in that community, because that's like that bread tube community, you know what I mean? Yeah, that's Milo's ahead of the curve with a lot of this stuff. I don't know, he's got like special gay powers.
I forgot what he said exactly, but to paraphrase him, he's like, no wonder all the feminists think all men are rapists. They just hang around leftists and they just hang around like the Hollywood men, or something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I believe I've seen that myself. Like I've been in places where all the men are weak and effeminate and they're given power because the women are given power by the superiors. And then like at the top, there's some sort of like, I don't know, like Michael Bay character, you know what I mean? With like $1 billion. And he's like, I'm like, oh, there's the Chad. There's the Chud. He's right here. You know what I mean? But in where I'm at in the lower decks, you know what I mean? It's just a bunch of effeminate men running the switchboards. You know what I mean? And if that was your experience, of course you'd seek out weird and random shit, which is, why I think it's so funny that, you have feminist people that are... You can't be, like, against all this fetishization talk and stuff and then also shipping people. It just, it sounds hypocritical. You know what I mean?
Well, it's like those articles that have come out. It's like left-wing women that are like, God, I hate right-wing men, but I just can't stop sleeping with them.
I can't stop sleeping with Glib. I hate him so much. Every woman I ever met. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's like...
Not every woman I ever met, but every woman that slept with me. Sorry.
Yeah. But it's one of those things just it does explain a lot.
Some of the weird things about...
I hate you. Come kiss me. You're so handsome and strong and masculine. I hate it. It makes me feel inferior. Come kiss me. It's so weird. It's a weird thing. And that, by the way, for all of the guys out there, that's one of the funniest things about being a man is you don't have to... Like, being a straight guy, you don't have to get flustered around handsome straight men. You know what I mean? That's such a funny thing to me that you see and witness happening. It's like seeing power in action. You know what I mean? Like, oh, here's one man who's like this male feminist type, and he's so butthurt because he can't get Stacy to pay attention to him, and Stacy is chasing after the Chad guy, and the Chad guy's just existing, and everybody's jealous of Chad because he doesn't do anything. He just exists. He just does his thing so effortlessly. It's like, how does he just do it? He's the natural. It's like, yeah, I work out. I do this for my. How'd you figure all this shit out? How'd you go to get in the universe? Blah 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 blah.
Well, in the morning, if my face is looking
so
a little bit
fucking annoying.
If my face is looking a little bit puffy, I put on an ice pack while I do the rest of my routine.
Yeah,
I just
do a routine.
Yeah.
I'm just a guy and I do a routine, and then and I have a nice looking face. That's how I get women, and people are mystified by all of this because they want it to be mystified, because if the plain truth hit them in the face, they'd feel fucked up. Like if you went, hey Maggie, your makeup is amateur, like that's real. Like I'm gonna say that, but then there are people like, oh my god, you look so beautiful right now. Like it's so do you understand how those are two opposing views? Like. There's people that are going to be soft,
the one that
and there's people that are going to tell it like it is. And the people that tell it like it is are not going to be treated the same way as the people that are like, oh my god.
But if you said that to Maggie, and then you've got another guy going, no, you look beautiful. She'll be thinking about, like your quote, Glib. She'll be thinking about you.
100%.
Shit. She's like, whatever, yeah, fine. She'll be like, what do I need to do to make him like my makeup? Do I have to change this? Do I have to change that? Yeah.
Patrice O'Neill used to boast that he would go up to women and insult them to try and get their number. Like he told me, he didn't tell me, but he told a story that was, he told a person to roll down the window, it was some chick, where okay, let me start over. He was at a stoplight, and then he drove up next to a girl, and both of the windows were up, and he did the roll the window down hand gesture, and she rolled down the window, and he said, he said, you go out with that haircut? Basically, like, and she's like, bitch, what about you? Blah, 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 blah. And then that was like a successful get, because he got her attention. And what he boiled it down to was that if you can get someone's passion, then you can get their attention, then you have them. Like, that's the thing about women from his perspective, because he would try and talk about it objectively. And when you talk about things objectively, you boil things down. You end up coming to a conclusion. When you come to a conclusion and you regard something as a principle, then people can't. It's hard to manipulate that. You can't make appeals if you've come to a conclusion, or if you've reached a conclusion for now. If you go, I have enough information to say this person was guilty. Is it beyond a reasonable doubt? Right now, yeah, that's exactly how it is. That's what I think. And then you come to the conclusion. Once you've reached that judgment, how are people going to change your mind after that? They have to unsettle the whole argument. If they don't allow you to use objectivity, if they don't allow you to use historicity, if they don't allow you to use patterns or symbol recognition or whatever it is that you're trying to argue, then your argument won't get to the conclusion point. And that's the obfuscation. Like, if you just do what you logically think is going to work, and you see works, and it works, and you don't get that sparkly magic feeling, is it less legitimate? And I think that's what people are afraid of. Like, if I just if I just ask for this thing, it doesn't feel like it's a gift. It has to feel a certain way for someone like Maggie. This has to feel right. You don't. But I don't think most people think like that. I don't think most men think that way. I don't think we look at media and go disavow and disavow media. It's fake, bitch. That's what we think.
Don't wear that outfit again. Wear something, and wear a skirt
Maggie,
or something.
Don't wear that makeup.
Come on, you're prettier than that.
Come on, you're prettier than I'll see you at Texarkana.
Here's Francis Boyd Coppola again. Thank you, sir. Fight Club, but Tyler is Steven Seagal. Oh my God.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Would anyone hear
that would be a very different movie.
I am sending all my wealth to this GoFundMe. This movie.
I can't stand Steven Seagal.
Hit me as hard as you can.
This heretic, kill him. Glib is a heretic, clear him.
Hit me as hard as you can.
Man, I'm just like, I'm just gonna play a little jazz on your face by making it bleed.
If you kind of want a well-written Steven Seagal character, I would suggest Jack Reacher, because he's also kind of unsolvable, but he also thinks through everything. He also gets beaten sometimes, but he's really cool character.
If you want the good version of Steven Seagal, just watch Sylvester Stallone. They even have the same initials.
There you go.
Yeah,
Just watch Stallone instead. Watch Cobra.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna need a bitch like you. What's up?
Anything with a cool bike, even if it's Delta Force, still, it's fun to watch.
To how M. Night Shyamalan pulled it off. But that's not the experience of watching Fight Club for a second time. As viewers, solving a mystery is both entertaining and comforting. We want to understand what really happened in this fictional universe, and Tyler lays out a pretty fun, sardonic, flashy answer to the mystery of who is Tyler Durden. Once we feel like we have that answer, even though it is just Tyler's version of what happened in this fictional narrative, we get to sit back on this second viewing and just enjoy the ride. However, repeat viewings do not give us a deeper understanding of Marla's perspective, even though she would have a pretty insightful view of Tyler.
Why?
A view that we should want if we truly wanted to understand him more accurately, or
Didn't I
understand
just
the deeper
fucking say
implications
that
of the story.
she says the exact same thing as Tyler, basically? She's all about like living in the now and how she's gonna die at any minute. The only tragedy is that she didn't, right? And then fucking Tyler is like, just gives up the wheel and is willing to kill himself in that moment to prove a point to himself and to everybody else in the car. Like, all of the subconscious shit is more interesting because they did that twist, which I think is funny because Mr. Robot, I've watched it multiple times and it's different every time that I watch it because I notice something different about it every time. Fight Club lesser, but only because it's 90 minutes long or whatever. And the other thing is like 20 hours long. You know what I mean? Like, it's like a total difference in quantity. But like, if you're not rewatching something with different knowledge, this time from maybe Tyler's perspective or maybe from Marlo's perspective, now that you know it, how are you not getting something new about that? Like, you just have one perspective and you don't ever fucking consider anything else?
Yeah, I like the idea that the ending of Fight Club, at least from the movie, is it's seen as a romance. Like, it just finishes on that romantic note. It's like, oh, this was about a relationship between a man and a woman. And we can go further with that by looking at Marla as a character and see she is the idea of when you first meet a girl, how you behave. And then the other character, who's not Tyler, is how you behave after the first date or the the 20th date or whatever. You see her as a person. You act like her, like she's we have to go get groceries, we have to go do this and that. Like, it's a normal behavior. And she's not attracted to that for some reason. And yet part of her is.
It's a good point that you're saying that, because that just reminded me that from the writer's perspective, when you employ such a device, it gives you the ability to write a subconscious at odds with itself in a linear format. So you can have a character talking to himself about himself, where a writer might be thinking both sides of this character's ideals as a question that he's asking himself, which is good writing, in my opinion. Is like with the Blade Runner stuff that I like, with Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep. Everything that Philip K. Dick explores, it feels like every character seems like his perspective from a different angle. Like, what would this character think? What would this character think? What would this character? Why? And why is that? Because they have this perspective, and let me play all these perspectives out in a linear narrative against each other.
PKD is almost, it's like he's a child and he's writing and he's feeling through what he's trying to do. He's never done before, but he knows where he's going, and he's just like, I'm not sure how to get there. And it feels almost amateurish at times.
It's very hard to read him,
Yeah, and then he gets there, and you're like, wow, we're here. It wasn't as amazing as I thought, but we're here. I didn't expect that. With the Marla character, like, this is the analogy we always have with relationships, and I think that's what we see on the screen. Because Marla's not sure what's going on. You were amazing last night. What the hell happened? You're not like that anymore. Why is that?
Right. And I have to point out that we've been going over for almost 2 hours now, and we're about the same part that we got to in Mooring Nonsense, which is 2 hours is basically how much time we have to cover a video on Mooring Nonsense. That's pretty funny. Well, it took the same exact amount of time.
The problem in this case, as opposed to other Maggie Mae Fish videos, is she's getting her premise wrong. She's redefining terms, or she's using terms in a context which I've never seen before, and then she's doing it wrong.
She's also talking about something that everybody here, to a certain degree, knows about, and I think I've spent a lot of time thinking about Fight Club because I just love this style, and it's representative of an author that I also love outside of the story, and it's in the genre that I grew up with. So it's like so many things are cross-referencing, and from my experience too, she's bringing up stuff that I never related to at all, as if that's what I'm supposed to be thinking, if you know what I mean. And then when I talk to people about the subject, and we're relating. It's a totally different perspective. So I don't think she has the ability to empathize into Tyler Durden's shoes at all. I think that her whole disavowal thing and her whole obsession with that term and why she uses it so much is because it's like a la. I'm not listening to the plain narrative. I'm going to create a new one so that I can live in this fantasy world that I want to live in. Fight Club isn't a poignant.
Carter's character, the main character, pretty much almost. I'm getting the feel of it.
She's like, she's like, I want the world to be viewed through this lens, so I'm going to make content that presents the world that way.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like.
She's certainly imposing her own view, but I think most of these guys do that anyway. I think she can empathize, but she's so caught up in this interpretation, she just doesn't care. She doesn't actually listen to the narrative and go, oh, hey, this is just the way the story is told. As opposed to, well, this could be interpreted this way if only we had Marla's perspective. It's like, we do have Marla's perspective. It's a secondary character. We don't need that much of it to understand what's going on.
If only we had waitress number 4's perspective of how Fight Club goes, then we could understand Tyler's.
When I remember analyzing this movie in my creative writing class, I think Train Spotting popped up a few times as well. The same ideas, not the philosophy, but the same concepts of identity and coming of age and that sort of thing.
And drugs.
Obviously, in a much
lots of drugs,
different perspective because the drugs and
friendships and purpose, like it's all this is all really either coming of age or delayed coming of age regrets. Like, you know what I mean? Like quarter life crisis is what I like to call it. Like when you're like, oh shit, my 20s that's where I feel like I'm at right now. It's either quarter or third life. Like, oh, I'm gonna be 30. What did all of the teenage elementary school level ideas that I had about myself, how did they come to fruition? Now, because I have a past now, I can reflect on what I've done, as opposed to when I was a teenager and when I was coming of age, I didn't have that yet. I had was my childhood, which didn't quite line up with what adulthood was. So becoming something and coming to a responsibility angle is part of what this is about, but it applies to two different groups. It applies to both the teenage groups that are going to be watching the movie that are turning into their 20s, and also the 20s people that are turning into their 30s, and to a further extent, which is less appreciated, the midlife crisis people, which is really what the movie is like from the male perspective. Like, this is a guy going through a midlife crisis in so many ways. He has identity issues, and he has all these. He's like wants to a better. He wants to steal cars and get into fights and stuff. It's somebody that's trying to recover something that's been lost.
It's like I always like combining the concept of the Joker from The Dark Knight and what was the other movie I wanted to talk about? What was I just had it at the tip of my tongue. It's like combining those two films, and this is what Fight Club is, and it's unique in that regard that it came up before those two films.
Which was the other one?
I just forgot.
Metaphor is incomplete.
The plot.
Yeah.
Princess Bride?
What?
Marx as the Princess Bride. You do like that one, but I doubt you could put the Princess Bride.
Sorry.
Fight Club
American
in the same
Psycho and the Joker from The Dark Knight.
Your name is Inigo Montoya. We both killed our father.
You keep saying fetishism. I did not think you know what that word means.
Yeah, there we go.
I think the game should think it means.
She's ironically by fetishizing everything, she's fetishizing everything. It's like a circular logic thing.
I still don't grasp why she went that route. She just could have said people have this emptiness in them. They need to fill it up with material goods. It's materialism. It's not fetishizations of materialism. That's strange.
Why did she go to millennial psychoanalysis to try and find the base level metaphor to use for Fight Club?
Why did she go to psychoanalysis in the first place?
I think that's her thing.
Video in the first place.
I think she's like obsessed with psychology, probably because she's trying to figure out why her brain is doing all the things that it's doing.
Yeah, but if you wanted to study psychology, psychoanalysis is so niche. Like nowadays, it's super niche. When I was studying psychoanalysis was a joke.
But I think that psychoanalysis and that part of psychology at this point is becoming like it's using like it's using the authority and prestige of the past to deliver other messages. It's like this is all just it's like I'm surprised that the SJWs don't say that men are like man children with Oedipal complexes all the time. And that's why they hate, but they hate mom or something like that. They're just
usually
mad.
hate that.
They're against S. You just hate SJWs because SJWs and successful women remind you of mom and how you're a little baby.
Like, I'm surprised they don't say that. You know what I mean?
My mother was never successful. You take that back.
No, she had you. She's a failure.
Psychoanalysis is interesting. The thing is, but I kind of like it when like Matt Pat or somebody does it because he's not taking it seriously. At the end of every video, it's like it's just a game theory. Like it's not. He knows you probably aren't going to take him seriously. It's not meant for you to take him seriously. He's just having fun with it. But when someone like Anisha W or like a Maggie Mae Fish character,
he's probably an idiot.
Yeah, I mean, he acknowledges it. But when you have a Maggie Mae Fish character or one of these other LiteratureDevs, they will say the same thing as Matt Pat, but they'll say it in a way that, hey, look, I just revealed this whole context to you. This absolute truth has been laid to bear before you, and now you see definitively that I was right and you are wrong, and that this whole thing has actually been evil the entire time. It's a difference there. It's a lack of self-awareness, a lack of humor that you get in a HW video, as opposed to when, like, for example, Matt Pat does it. When he does it, tongue-in-cheek sort of way. Like he acknowledge that, oh yeah, maybe I'm wrong. I get things wrong. That sort of thing.
With Renegade Cut, this is all this guy thinks. Like, there's no other interpretation. It's just, this is my way, and that's all there is. With Maggie Mae Fish, you're like, okay, this is a crazy bint. Like, she's out of her gourd, but she's nice about it. Mm-hmm. She's not like, until she gets fierce when she talks about Zack Snyder or a bunch of other people.
Trump wanting to plow his own daughter.
Somebody said, I was arguing something earlier in the Mahler Discord, and somebody said, like, Glib is an epistemological mystery. I'm like, yeah, because life is an epistemological mystery. That's the reality we're working with right now. So many people come out with definitive takes on things with such little life experience, and it freaks me out because one of the cardinal rules I remember from the classical writer education is that, and from like Hemingway, is like, before you can write, you have to live. And so many people haven't lived yet, but they're writing all this shit like Philosophy Tube and fucking ContraPoints. Like, well, I'm in charge. I know everything. I'm ContraPoints. I'm like, bitch, what have you done with your life?
I read Wikipedia.
Shit.
That's what I've done. I read Wikipedia, so I know more than you.
I went to college for philosophy. It's like, well, I'm glad you're getting your money's worth.
Yeah,
I have a tweet, so I exist.
Oh, what? You went to college? A very, 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 very low quality, poor life simulator.
College is where real life happens, LitDev.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. It's not supposed to be a life experience. It's supposed to comfort us, and basically, it's just like I think.
Oh, do you know what she said? It was that girl that was complaining about the administrator that said that. Yeah. She said, this isn't supposed to be some like institution for knowledge. We're supposed to build a home here. Getting completely wrong.
You're supposed to go here for 4 years and get out. That's what you're supposed to do.
She went, who hired you? And then he said, he didn't say it, but she did. She was part of the committee.
She hired him. Well, the thing is, I think Milo Yiannopoulos mentioned it a long time ago that colleges are just very, very expensive daycare centers now for adults.
Yeah.
See, my tinfoil theory about that was that it was a Chinese ploy to make it so that, or like whatever, like our enemies are trying to make our college-educated people dumber so that they would destroy our society for them. I was like, wow, that's a perfect plot. If I were the Soviet Union, that's what I would do. And they did. That was what all that Marxist professor shit was doing about in the McCarthy era. But it's all been swept under the rug in memory hold.
When I went to college, I was 16, and there was a kid, a guy there who was 25, and it was his 10th year of being in college because it was just an easy life. He didn't have to get a job.
I had a classmate as well. Yeah.
Like,
shout out to Bad Boy Beta in chat.
How's he doing?
I hope he's doing good.
I have to still talk to him about a video he wants to cover. He's recommended a few videos that haven't gone through the voting yet, and I was like, I should get him on, just him.
What about his channel?
I don't know. He hasn't shown me anything. Yeah,
should go on his channel.
He has a channel?
I don't know, but he should have one.
He should have. He really should have one.
Yeah.
We don't. Instead, Tyler frames her emotions as the butt of a mean joke, while seeing his emotions as
she's
valid.
A woman.
On repeat viewing, instead of breaking down the movie, we're sucked deeper into Tyler's narrative, deeper into his perspective. We're not just seeing...
Sorry, as soon as you said that, I realized I thought of like, someone should do a a Photoshop of the "I love democracy" thing by Palpatine, but do my character's face and have democracy blacked out and just say women.
That's so done.
Seeing puzzle pieces fit together in the order that Tyler has preordained. We're feeling how he wants us to feel about every character. Rewatching scenes with Marla, which
wait. We are feeling what?
Not necessarily.
This is implying a certain technique in a story or a drama element is, one-to-one. It happens, you are going to get scared. It happens, you are going to feel love or whatever. That's a very definitive statement that I don't quite can get behind.
Yeah.
He is confused and walking around with a girl he's not too sure what he just did with the night before.
Well, isn't it in that scene? That scene's the part where they're walking and trying to negotiate about who's going to what self-help group, isn't it?
I'm trying to recall, but it's always like he's trying to catch up and figure out what just happened with this girl, because I know she's telling me stuff I don't understand.
That's kind of the whole middle part of the movie is him trying to catch up with what Tyler's doing.
Yeah. So
I think at least with that scene, like since they're walking like along the street next to each other, it looks like they just barely come out of the self-help group thing. So my assumption is that he's just kind of working, like he's just saying, "Hey, can we divvy up the self-help groups?"
Could make his effort, since we now know that Tyler is treating her like garbage. Instead, make her the object of ridicule. Fincher's choice of angle.
Yeah, but she likes that.
Yeah, she does.
She's attracted to that. So what's the problem?
She keeps coming back.
Yeah, she's also. I think she's a masochist in some ways.
When Tyler shows up at her apartment, he doesn't say anything. She does all the talking. So it's really funny that she's saying like David Fincher and all this stuff. It's like from Marla's perspective, she's the one that's in control. Tyler's just literally grooving with it. He's just going along with whatever she's doing. That's part of the joke of her character and part of the criticism that she gives to the narrator. Because she just does stuff, and he just does stuff. That's why they go together.
Yeah.
And in reality, both of them need a mental adjustment, and by the end of it, they're trying to stabilize each other. Probably that's the future that I see, is them trying to fucking be normal after this.
Yeah.
Tone and still privilege Tyler's point of view.
Privilege.
Well, privilege.
As if a character wouldn't deserve to have their point of view expressed. Instead of the canvas being a neutral thing and you just painting it in whatever direction you want the audience to see, you should paint it based on whoever deserves it, based on their privilege.
Look how
That's
often
Maggie
Marla
Fish.
is framed with the camera looking down on her. And how often...
Yeah, because she's shorter than them.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because Helen Bonham Carter is tiny.
Brad Pitt's a bit taller. Yeah. Okay.
Also, how did you miss the recurring?
Also, Tyler stood up and she sat down. At this point in time as well.
What about all the times where she's not and she's standing over the narrator when he's eating his little bowl of cereal? Right?
Oh, well.
What about the angle when she says, "You're fucking crazy" to him? I frequently see people that criticize film not having the attention span long enough to pay attention to when they make a statement about where the camera is positioned later, if that's axiomatic or if that's just for the shot.
It's like no glib, okay? We can't have that context in there, okay? We can only have the context in here that describes the movie, that has to paint the movie as misogynistic or demeaning to all women. They can't have the ones where we have it the other way around. They can't have it. Can't have the context that breaks that narrative. It's about sending a message, and we gotta keep up the narrative.
You're gonna criticize the guy that outwardly says, "I'm a pervert," and I think that films and filmmakers are perverts, and that we people that watch films are perverts because we like to be voyeurs. Is that really what you want to say? He's a pervert. Look at his whole thing about. Think about how he fetishizes, quote unquote, to the literal sense, Brad Pitt's body in this movie. This is the movie that everybody goes to when they go, Brad Pitt's sexy. It takes his shirt off. He's got all his muscles out. He's sweaty. He's doing fucking construction work. He's, you know, this is a movie that for women watch and go, holy shit, Brad Pitt's hot. And then some women go, if they're into that, they're like the Edward Norton character. What's wrong with that? Marla is never seen as this like beautiful sex goddess. She's seen as this kind of like downtrodden, broken doll.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Tyler Durden's the sex goddess.
He is a goddess, yeah.
How often Tyler is framed looking down on us.
That's important.
We
that's
are
part of,
rewatching
It's fucking important. Look, here's the shot I was talking about where she's looking down on him. Because when you angle a camera in a movie where you place a character's height gives them power because that's your perception. When you're a little kid and the world is larger than you, you're immediately giving authority to people that are taller than you because they can kick your ass. That's the physical hierarchy of beings. You don't stand in the way of a giant wave expecting that your mass is going to protect you. Right? So if you shoot that wave, you're going to shoot it from the perspective of the person that's going to get crashed down upon because that's the perspective of the person because films are about people, and then the power of the wave is represented by it coming up over him, and the camera tilts up, and oh shit, here it comes, and then we cut to the wave's perspective, which is looking down on the guy, and it crashes right under the guy because maybe we don't have the right effect for this. And then we cut away to the wide shot, and we see the wave crashing on the guy, so we see scale, and then the wave hits, and it washes the guy out and we don't cut, we just have it, and then we cut to looking out over the water, and he's gone. That's just standard filmmaking for trying to give perspective where when you want to give the perspective in a movie, where you place the camera on a basic level, eye line for characters so that they can look back and forth from each other, or establishing shots that give you sense of scale and a sense of place, or shots that are designed to compare and contrast the 2 or the 3 or the 4 or the 5 or however many characters that are in the room. You need to be able to see all of it. Or geometrically give you a symbolic representation of where all the characters are. Like if all characters are sitting at a circular table, that gives you the idea that they're all supposed to be talking in the same platform. And why is that? Because that's why they have a circular table in the first place. In the real world, why it's a circular table and why it's not a square table that gives one person the head of the table. This is a language. It's not an angle. It's not It's not David Fincher's fault that he's masochistically trying to make women put women down. That's just projection. This is how a film should be made. This is one of the films you should study if you're learning camera angles, because the camera, according to Fincher, just goes where it's the God's eye point of view from his perspective. It goes here, it goes there. We're inside. It's smooth. You're not supposed to notice it that much. It goes into the coffee cup. It goes out of the trash can. You know what I mean? It goes inside. It goes through the wall into the van. You see all the explosives. Then it goes out, and then we see where what's going to explode, and then we cut to the character. Like, he allows it to go wherever he wants. That's a system. It's not one singular perspective. It's so annoying to hear this reductionism into nothing, basically.
Yeah. Especially since you actually know how cameras work because you worked on film sets.
I went to a class at the RE place with their cameras and stuff. So it's like, however you want to look at it, there is a system that people try to teach. And those systems align with the technology, and those systems align with art. The classic perspective, like photography, will teach you how to be a good filmmaker. Painting will teach you how to be a good photographer.
I mean, there's things out there, and even in Hollywood, that give you lessons on how to be a good filmmaker and good.
Yes, there is.
Yes, there is. So it's not just all subjective, is it? It's objectivity, not. Isn't there? Huh? Interesting how that works.
Yeah, all the schools for film school, they're all random. Everyone doesn't know what they're doing.
Subscribe to Skillshare.
Someone said, see if there's objectivity to art or something.
Yeah, that's why they call it color art, not color science, when they're trying to figure out how they're gonna create number systems. Like, the systems themselves and the value of them can be subjective in a way, but then accurately reading how much light is going into the lens is not objective. I mean, subjective. It's objective. You have a light meter. Yeah. There's a specific amount of light. It's what you do with it. It's what Picasso said. Learn the rules so you can break them. But
people keep breaking the rules and explaining them as rules. Like, hey, this thing does this. That's why that's a rule. No, that's not a rule. That's the exception. Why are you saying the exception is the rule? The exception is what makes the thing stand out. The lower angle is what would make it stand out as opposed to just a regular 2-shot. The reason why the camera swoops in from the left on this shot and she walks over. That's what makes it non-standard. The fact that he swivels and he pans and he tilts and he moves the camera, that's what's non-standard. But what's standard is what happens when he stops moving the camera. What happens when he sets up the shot? What happens when they light the shot? It's still, at the end of the day, this is a 2-shot. This is a close-up. This is a zoom lens. You know what I mean? Those things don't change. For 100 years, it's been like, this is this lens focal length. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
Exact same scene we saw on the first viewing, telling ourselves that we're watching something different this time, since we have new knowledge. But the same argument as before, that Marla is trash and sucks and Tyler hates her and we should hate her too, is only reinforced on this viewing. Jack's inflection seems clueless.
Think so?
What are you getting out of all this?
On the first viewing, that inflection was understood to be Jack's honest confusion about why Marla is hanging around Tyler.
Why are you fucking Tyler?
Viewing, there's a surface level reading if we take Tyler's narrative at his word that Jack is schizophrenic and is truly confused.
Not schizophrenic.
But that's not what's going on, because Jack is not there. Jack is absent. That's Tyler talking.
What?
How do you know his name is Tyler Durden? Where did it say in the script that his name was Tyler? Did his boss call him Tyler? Did anybody call him Tyler Durden?
Even in the book,
except for him,
no one knows the name of the dude aside from a reference that someone might have.
When I go to IMDb, is it going to say Tyler Durden under Edward Norton? No, it's not. So you have a fan theory. Like, that's not.
I know how it works.
If it is Tyler Durden, let's say that Tyler Durden is the guy, right? He is Tyler Durden, and he creates this Jack personality. That means that he was this flamboyant guy that went to work every day dressed as Edward Norton. That means that he was Brad Pitt the whole time.
Yeah.
If that's the case, then if he shot himself, why did Brad Pitt disappear?
Good question.
Pass. Next question.
He is the narrator. We figure that out. He doesn't have a name. Why she's giving him the name Tyler Durden is just confusing.
He transitioned to Edward Norton.
This is the confusion part of the Maggie Mae Fish video.
She's making an associate with a name for no reason. We know who Tyler Durden is. It's definitely not this guy.
Yeah.
I don't like...
Also, you know the second time you watch a movie, the script doesn't change, by the way. The words they say don't change, it's just the meaning of
this is
certain words.
Dr. Jekyll and Mr.
So why
Hyde.
would she expect...
It's like, no, it's not Dr. Jekyll, it's Dr. Hyde. He's like, no, Maggie, no. You got that mixed up.
No. Yeah.
Unless there was some actual element of like personality that she's saying, well, it's actually in this person. This person on the screen right now is Tyler because of X, Y, Z, and these are the elements. You're like, okay, maybe. And then she would show that in another scene, and we can relate to that. Say, oh, there's more evidence of that element of psychology or his personality or his behavior. It's like, okay, great. I don't see it.
No.
Tyler is telling us this story. By acting confused, Tyler keeps us from empathizing.
He's not acting confused. If you say he has schizophrenia, he is literally mad. He has a problem. He is disassociating himself. Which one is it, Maggie? Is he healthy or not healthy?
Yeah. Is he mentally insane or is he perfectly fine?
They're going to a therapy group together. I think there might be something wrong with them. Hey, he nearly killed himself. I think there might, even if if he doesn't have any mental conditions, that's all in his head, and he doesn't tell anyone. Maybe he's talking to himself. Maybe Joe's just eccentric. Whatever. We don't know. He nearly killed himself with a gun. He nearly blew himself up with a bomb. Something's wrong. Okay, normal people don't do these things.
empathizing with in this situation. And instead, we empathize with Jack because we've seen this scene before and we...
So wait a second. This is Jack now? Or is that his name? Because the narrator is just the narrator. Okay, so this is Jack. All right.
Or is it Tyler?
She's going with the idea. I think she's made canon the theory that Jack is Edward Norton's character, which is not confirmed as far as I know. This is a fan theory.
Yeah, but she was calling Edward Norton's character Tyler Durden literally 20 seconds ago, and now it's Jack. So which one is it?
Who knows?
I just
you can't keep swapping the names of people and expect us to follow.
Nobody knows, especially not Maggie Mae Fish.
Yeah, I'm just like.
She went to bed after she wrote the previous paragraph, and she woke up and started another one. Okay. She forgot what she wrote the day before. And ran with it.
She finished a sentence and just went, I've completely forgotten what I was writing about.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's carry on.
We're just as confused as he is. It's relatable. It keeps us from acknowledging that in the actual world of the story, it's Marla who is infinitely more confused because she's dealing with this irrational, obnoxious person.
Talk to me.
Tyler knows exactly how much of his
it's Tyler who's
persona
irrational,
he
not
can
Marla.
reveal without losing his intended audience.
This conversation is over. Is over.
And this movie has an intended audience. This movie is not.
Yeah, the lady who called him up so that he can watch, he can listen to her die as she dies on, I think, sedatives or sleeping pills. Yeah, she's the rational one, and she's totally rational and in control. That's her. Miss Sanity over here.
Sanity.
This movie is meant for guys like you and me. It's for nice guys who know they should be getting more out of life.
And I used to be such a nice guy.
Except Jack was never a nice guy, because he never existed. The mythical nice guy is simply a convenient tool in Tyler's rhetorical utility belt.
Okay, wait a second.
How can you say that Jack never... So who was doing the jobs? What's all that about then? So Tyler Durden is a real person, but Jack doesn't... But Jack, this character that Edward Norton is, who has a job, is she saying that Tyler Durden goes to work? That Tyler Durden is the guy that is doing the TPS reports. That's not a different person.
All right, so
the real guy is Tyler Durden, who works at a movie theater and all those restaurants and everything, and the fake guy goes to an office job every day.
The fake guy goes to a fake office job.
Yeah,
she might be arguing. Yeah, if she's talking about DID, she might be arguing about a more dominant personality, and therefore that's the real personality, but she's not. That would make a bit more sense. She's literally saying Jack doesn't exist, and Tyler's putting on an act or something.
But the story doesn't track if Tyler Durden is the only guy that exists. It doesn't make it. Why would Tyler Durden imagine Jack? What's the point of that? If Tyler Durden is Jack's underlying person, like, is she saying? Who is she saying is the real person? Brad Pitt or Edward Norton? Let's not even use the character names because she's fucked it up. Who's real?
Brad Pitt, I think is the real person. I think she's trying to say.
So Brad Pitt is this Chad dude that goes around beating up people in fight clubs and stuff, and he just to make himself feel unguilty about it or something, to forget about it, he hallucinates this other person that he's actually spiritually awakening. So Jack is Tyler Durden's excuse to do Project Mayhem. He's like, oh no, I'm not really a terrorist. I'm not really a bad guy.
I'm Tyler Durden.
I'm helping out Jack.
I am Jack's excuse for everything. So the thing...
She has the exact reverse, right? Am I mistaken? She has like the opposite.
Her interpretation is that Tyler Durden is a Chad in everyday life who secretly wishes to be this loser nerd. Okay.
Why? It doesn't make any sense. It makes sense if there's a guy that wants to be Tyler Durden. It doesn't make sense that Tyler Durden would come up with a character to offset all of his guilt through this convoluted thing where his insanity is actually just him trying, like he creates a reasonable version of himself that just wants to buy IKEA stuff and he's like, "No, I want to corrupt you." That's the real story.
If there was a climax that involved the character change, or like this is really experimental. If you're talking about a person going on a journey where they accept or reject a certain part of themselves, which happens to be a personality, which is nuts. That was not the story. In fact, it was the opposite story because Jack kills Tyler, metaphorically or whatever.
Yeah.
So whatever she thinks is the actual character, Tyler dies at the end, regardless.
It's how do you find your way into this reality? That's the problem I'm having here.
Well, if you want to argue that Tyler is the real personality, you're like, okay, let's work with that. But you have to then lampshade the entire half of not 30% of the movie starting and then a little bit of the middle and then the next 30% and then the last part's okay. Like you really have to spend a lot of effort trying to make sense
weirder.
of that.
So according to Maggie Mae Fish, it's basically. I think it's actually weirder. I think it's actually that Tyler Durden is using this wannabe guy to spread his message to the audience in a meta sense. I think that's what she's arguing, rather than anything in world.
That is not. Okay, Chuck is smart. He's not that smart to do something stupid like that.
She interprets strange things. I'm just remembering like little bits and pieces from this freaking video, and it's just she's always on going. All these people are always going on about the meta all the time.
Maggie Mae Fish has all the answers done. She has all the answers. She figured it out done. Really? She figured out the fact that the movie that everyone thought was a movie about taking control of your life and getting rid of all the things that don't matter and embracing the things that do is actually about a guy taking control of his life and feeling really, really bad about it.
And also he's trying to promote fascism to the audience.
We haven't gotten there yet. I
know. Stop spoiling it. We have to get through this insanity first.
All right. I think we've reminisced enough.
Fascism
this movie is guys who
anarchy.
are never nice, but want to claim it's the world's fault that I'm not nice anymore. Guys who want a fabricated excuse for their toxic, abusive behavior. On the fourth viewing, Paula is still gross. On the sixth viewing, Jack still provides excuses for Tyler's actions. On the eighth viewing, we still disavow that Brad Pitt is a Hollywood sex symbol, so that we can pretend he's just a regular guy like us.
No, that's your problem. That's your fucking problem, because you think that Brad Pitt's the real guy that's there. Like you, Maggie, you're seeing the reverse of the reality. That's the hilarious part. Like you're like imagining that you're a figment of imagination. Brad Pitt is not the person that they see. Edward Norton's the person that they see. That's the basic idea. That's the whole fucking point, is that they all see fucking Edward Norton's physique, a skinny guy who's not really that like strong or whatever. But his physicality, his personality is portrayed as Brad Pitt, because that's how guys see themselves. And then the reflection on the wall that society, which is represented by corporations, wants to show of masculinity is the guy in the boxer briefs, which is ironic because Tyler Durden and Brad Pitt actually does have a body that's like a version of that. So the whole point is that there's a little bit of hypocrisy in men where we want to be a fantasy Hercules thing. We aren't going to put the effort in. We really want to be able to be combat effective. That's the reason why we want to be strong. And we want to be seen as sexy. So all these masculine things only work story-wise if you relate it to what Edward Norton looks like, which is what most guys kind of look like. That's the assumption. We don't really have the definition. We're in between fat and skinny. We're somewhere over here. We're not eating so well. We're not doing. That's the whole point. I don't understand why you would fuck with that concept. It works perfectly as it is. Just tell reality as it is.
She doesn't know what reality is. That's the problem.
Shall we get to the 20-minute mark, or what's the plan, Smudge?
Yeah.
Hell no.
I can keep going for another 5 minutes. You guys are okay, depending on how crazy she goes.
Because no matter how times you watch it, Tyler is still in control of the story. At best, the narrative constructs him as a messiah.
Okay, so the argument is that we have a character who's, let's say, a main character, Tyler, who's enacting the main plot of the project, right? So that's not wrong.
Yeah,
What?
Yeah.
That's
he's
not.
just a cult leader.
But the story of the movie, the way it's written, will not change no matter how many times you watch it. Though she's saying it like, why in the 8th time of watching all these things happen? It should have been different. Because I know differently. It's like, that's not how movies work.
And this,
just because you know what happens next doesn't mean the characters in the story know.
Right. In this narrative, the narrator is one of the characters in the story, and they're lost and confused and not sure what's going on, and part of this group and trying to have a relationship. So it's kind of like a slice of life for this guy. He's not sure what he's doing. He's going to work. He's doing this and that. He's getting off work. He's doing this and that. That's him. Then there's this other guy that he talks to, that he gets involved with. So it's very sort of disconnected, but we can follow it. We understand what's going on. And she's saying, well, the main character is Tyler. And you're like, yes.
Yeah, but that's also not else she's saying. She's saying, why isn't, because I've watched this movie now 8 times, why is the story not different?
So by that
that's
logic,
what she's saying.
Once you have a slice of life,
is the Joker the main character of the Dark
Well,
Knight?
no. What she's saying is, like at the end of Dark Knight. Well, I've watched it 5 times. Why doesn't Batman just arrest him earlier on? Since
No,
we
she's
now
not
know
saying
where the Joker's fingers.
That would be,
what it comes across
beyond
to me.
stupid.
Okay, well,
No, but she's saying that each time you watch it, the story doesn't change that much. It's like, well, no, you just understand the story.
Right. So
it doesn't change anything.
The idea
That's
of the
literally
genre.
what she's saying.
So the concept of the genre of slice of life is a guy going about his business. In this case, he has multiple things going on. He has a relationship. He has a job. He has this weird problem where he blacks out, and he's just trying to figure that out. So you can do many plot lines with that.
Yeah.
She is saying, oh, there's this other guy he talks to. He's a main character. And you're like, well, not really. I mean, you could argue that, but you have to show proper evidence how that's the case. Because I can sit there and go, this is a romance. He has a relationship. That's the main story. But there's more things going on. So you can't just disregard those other plot lines and say, well, no, the main character is clearly Tyler, and he's in control of the plot. It's like, well, yeah, of one of the plots, not all of them. So there's many things happening in this story, and you can't just reduce it to this. Oh, Tyler's in charge. It's like, no.
No, but even at the end of it, okay, Tyler's in charge. Right. Okay. Right. So he's in charge of all the stuff. Right. So how's this fetishized stuff? What?
Oh, that's a whole. I don't know why she brought that up, but that's mad.
Yeah, but it's also like, but once you just start saying, okay, we'll go by what your definition is. What's the problem with Tyler being in charge of the story, and the narrator? It still runs perfectly fine.
She is doing.
The story's just not what you say it is.
Yeah, she's doing too many things for not an easy to understand film, but it's definitely not as complicated as she's making it out to be. So it's something I don't know why.
I followed it, and I'm a fucking idiot.
The fact she's talking about Brad Pitt as a sex symbol is like, you're. Why did you even bring that up? Just say that the character is attractive for these narrative reasons or characterization reasons or whatever. But she's like, I don't know what she's doing now. It's getting a bit too. Well, I'm not sure what she's getting at, so I can't say.
I want to go back to the simpler times of phallic shape.
Oh God! At least that made some sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Guns are penises. So is the spike on RoboCop's arm. You're like, okay.
Yeah.
At worst, he's misguided but still right about society.
Wink.
Tyler narrates scenes that literally did not happen, so that we don't even have a chance to question Tyler's lies. Tyler has to show us the provocative fight first. After all, seeing someone assaulting themselves or pretending to be assaulted in public would make them seem ridiculous. This is provocative.
Assault! They're assaulting me!
Why are you showing this?
But from a more objective angle, we see it simply a dork pretending to get beat up.
I'm being pushed!
Oh, why are you doing this?
Tyler shows us this. He's preached so much about how terrible, absurd, and messed up society is. We're primed to see this kind of behavior as justified, or even noble. If society is absurd, the means of rebelling might as well be equally absurd. That's why even on repeat viewings, when we know that Tyler is punching himself in this scene, we don't think, that's a sad guy punching himself. We still think, this is cool and funny and different. And this is the origin story of that cool secret club I know about. We disavow critical thought in favor of being part of the in-group.
No. We didn't. We never disavowed critical thought.
What is... Wow.
That was...
I don't think it works that way.
Maggie, are you telling your audience that they're dumb?
I don't think it works. Yes, she is. Yeah, let's go with that.
I just
saying that the movie is doing that.
Yeah, but we're doing it to ourselves by watching a movie. That's I don't know who in their right mind would watch a film and go, "Oh, I am now an idiot."
So
I have no idea why
her
they'd do that.
definition of her definition of critical thought is very different than our idea of critical thought. They're very different. Her thought is, oh, how does this symbolically preach some kind of politics through the framing? And how can I say that this is promoting conservative politics and Jordan Petersonisms?
Luckily, she hasn't referenced anyone she hates yet, politically at least.
I'm just trying to think. The reason why we see the fight between Brad Pitt and Edward Norton is like, I'll put quotation marks, cool, is because like we're invested in the two characters. If we did see a guy in the street punching himself, we would go, yeah, that's a bit weird. But in the concept of this movie, it's completely different. That suspension of disbelief that she was on about earlier.
Well, we called it the willing suspension of disbelief. She called it disavowing or whatever.
Yes, but I'm going to refer to the correct term of willing suspension of disbelief.
She called that disavowal for like 5 seconds, and then she called it something else.
Yeah, so I don't know, but that's like a case of it. We know Edward Norton's character is beating himself up, but the way we see it in the movie is him versus Brad Pitt's character.
Mm-hmm. We see both, so we understand.
Yeah, so we understand, and it's like, oh yeah, so this is what's happening inside his head.
His name was Robert Paulson.
Yeah, and
I am Robert Paulson's large breasts. I humiliate Robert Paulson.
So the term she was using before was called absence presence or something like that.
Present.
Yeah,
that is a term that was coined by Derrida, and he's a postmodernist. So, I mean,
so an idiot, yeah.
Everything he says with a tub of salt.
Yeah,
I love postmodernism because you can just ignore reality and it still works.
So yeah, how she came up with these ideas, you can imagine the book she referenced, and why that has anything to do with film critique, I don't know. She should have explained that. But I mean, I may as well just be talking to a second-year psych student who decided to do a study on the history of psychoanalysis, and that would have been fine. It would have been the same thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Losing all hope was freedom.
Tyler talks a lot about freedom, about being free. But the kind of freedom Tyler is talking about isn't found in Enlightenment philosophy or the Declaration of Independence, or even in ads for oversized American pickup trucks.
Wait, hang on.
Journalist I.A.R. Wiley interviewed a young man who could have been a real-life candidate for president. He said, "We are free from freedom." Wiley elaborates.
It only works
He
for
meant
America.
that he no longer had to make his own decisions or even think his own thoughts.
Wiley was interviewing a young Nazi who made that
What?
proud statement
What?
shortly
Nazi.
before
What?
World War II. Eric Hoffer, in The True Believer, Thoughts on the Nature of Mass Movements, explains that this kind of freedom
is not the freedom of self-expression and self-realization.
That's the freedom that everyone else wants. That's freedom that Edward Norton. Well, that's not freedom, but that's the idea that everyone else lives throughout the society that Fight Club takes place in. Everyone is they have no free will. They have no thought because they're being told by magazines and catalogs what is important, what you should value, instead of actually going out there, living your life, taking control of what you value, and then, valuing it. Throwing away your apartment, your khakis, your all that stuff like that, and then embracing your loved ones or something else, embracing something you built by yourself, your legacy. That's what everyone else has. That's what Edward Norton has in the beginning of the movie. He has no thought, no freedom. He can't sleep, so If he wanted to, he'll just take something to go to sleep. The doctor says, no, you're not allowed to do that. I want to have freedom to do this. No, you're not allowed to do that. I want to have freedom to live how I want. No, you're not allowed to do that. You're only allowed to live within the confines of what society says you're allowed to live in and what the corporatism is allowed. And you're only allowed to value what the corporations allow you to value. That's what it says. That's exactly what it says. So everyone else is living that freedom. What Tyler Durden, when Tyler Durden is manifested, because he is the illusion, when Tyler Durden is manifested, he is the exact opposite of that. He is the desire of Edward Norton's character to no longer follow the society's rules, to venture off somewhere else where he can actually have real value, real things to value, real ideas to value. And that's what Tyler Durden represents, the idea of breaking away from the enslavement of the corporations, all that stuff, and finally having your own thoughts and pursuing your own life and making your own rules. Mm-hmm. So it's not this whole thing where you sacrifice your ideas and your freedom of thought is not what Edward Norton's character wants. You can see that manifested through Tyler Durden. He wants the opposite of that.
So essentially what you're saying, aside from the terrorism, that Tyler Durden did nothing wrong?
Yes.
Even including the terrorism. He did nothing
including
wrong.
the terrorism.
But freedom from the double burden of an autonomous existence. They want freedom from the fearful burden of free choice.
It's only after we've lost everything that we're free to do anything.
The idea of free will or free choice is antithetical to Tyler's worldview. Freedom means having a gun placed at the back of your head by a stranger and being told
you choose your own involvement.
Freedom is not the gun, having the stranger give you a gun or have a gun against your head. Freedom, in the context of Fight Club, is living your life, getting away from the corporate everyday job that you sacrificed your life to and have felt comfortable in, and therefore have sacrificed your dreams for that comfort. And making your own choices after that, breaking away from the mundanity and becoming something that you always wanted to be. That's what it was. What does he say? I look like you. I talk like you. That sort of thing. Tyler Durden is what Edward Norton could have been once he breaks away from what he values, breaks away from the mundanity of everyday life.
Ideal versus real, and then trying to make the ideal become real, and accepting the compromise of what you get.
Maggie Mae Fish, don't wear that Dunn's cap again. Okay, wear something else. Khakis. I don't know.
Yeah, basically.
I would love to see Maggie Mae Fish have a Clockwork Orange style forced to watch some of our streams on her videos. That would be immensely entertaining.
Is that how you feel right now?
No, I just don't. I'm desensitized to stupid at this point. I've seen Remarkable Republican. Remarkable Republican's way worse than this, but he's deliberately being a troll, so...
Yeah, you have to respect the troll. That's why I think Major League came out as a troll too. So you got to respect the game.
He's a great troll.
Yeah, great troll. Fantastic.
Tremendous trolls. We have the best trolls.
Tremendous. Yeah, the best troll. The best.
Conveniently for Tyler, he sets up a system which strips everyone else of choice, leaving Tyler with the ability to choose for them. You are free to punch, you are free to blow things up, but you are not free to do just anything. To Tyler, these violent physical categories of knowledge...
That is a very strange interpretation of what Fight Club is.
A psychotic interpretation.
Release of tension. Release of tension. Out of it when I
hey, audience! Did you know that the movies that guys like are bad and harm everyone? Yeah, we get it, Maggie Mae Fish. It could have been like a 15-minute video. You didn't have to make it 56 minutes.
No,
men are bad, and the things they like are bad.
Yeah, easy. They're done.
The thing is,
which includes women. So I don't know. We're fucked.
Yeah.
The thing is, like Lord of the Rings is the exception to this because it's gay.
Oh yes,
excellent.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'd also say that video was freaking boring. It was not very... It wasn't crazy at all. It was just Maggie and two of her non-binary friends chatting about Lord of the Rings.
She has friends.
Gay.
Wait. They were friends that were non-binary? Did they say they're non-binary?
Yes, they say that they're non-binary.
We just had.
Thank God, because otherwise I'd never tell.
Oh, we just had a stream with Wisp, and Wisp is like not the definitive knowledge on all things that are trans. He says non-binaryism is not a thing. There's no such thing as it.
Yeah, but not.
She said that she is. She said that she's a. I think that at least one of them said like she's queer or non-binary person. Maybe it's
a queer non-binary.
Okay,
person.
there we. That's even worse. You want to know why? Because Wisp also said there's no such thing as Q.
Yeah.
There you go.
It's hilarious.
But at the end of the day, we all have to remember that queerness is a necessity in the post-apocalyptic world.
Of course. Number one.
You'll have so many more children to be able to repopulate the Earth. Oh wait, biology doesn't work like that.
Just find a random Korean guy and use him as a sperm donor. That's fine. Don't worry. Solved, sorted.
Yeah.
Oh my. All right, I think we're going pretty quickly. We could go for another few minutes. How's that? Before 8 o'clock. All right, let's see if we can do it.
Yeah, let's get to the 20-minute mark so we have a good stopping place.
Before 8 o'clock, me and Mark in Europe. Yeah.
2 in the morning.
Yeah.
It's weekend. Who the fuck cares? Just go.
Yeah.
Go.
But there are categories of knowledge which he finds distasteful, which he wants to eliminate.
Why do guys like you and I know what a duvet is?
Simply knowing what the word duvet means is immoral to Tyler. Guys like you and me should not be allowed to know what a duvet is.
It's not.
We are men. We are hard. Duvets are prohibited for guys like you and me. Why does Jack feel so empty? Why does Jack feel so lost? Does he feel crushed by the superficiality and alienation inherent in capitalism? Does he have a terminal illness? Is it because the word duvet?
It's not capitalism. It's materialism. What are you talking about?
Also, here's the thing about he's asking why do people. He's like saying why do people like us know what a duvet is? Like he's like finding common ground with him because they're both educated people because they're the same person. It's a subtle hint. It doesn't have any philosophical implications.
I disagree. I think it does. I think it's funny. It's like he's pointing out who gives a fuck what a duvet is. How does that affect our life? Like, what does a duvet make your life better? How? Like, and he's just picking a furniture object because, like you said, he's relating it to him.
Yeah, I read this book by this psychoanalyst from 1974 that said that duvet is the disavowal of. I can't even give a shit about this fucking.
According to Hitler, 1933.
It's the disavowal of fascism and terrorism in Fight Club. Why that is a good thing.
But duvets are bad. Duvets caused 9/11.
Yeah.
He exists. It's because Jack isn't real. He's a straw man whose mortal enemy is a fancy word for blanket. Let's take a closer look at one of the characters, Tyler and
Bullshit.
So Jack is a straw man?
What the fuck are you talking about?
Is she getting her terms crossed?
Basically, the Tyler Durden's philosophy makes it so is the themes of the movie, and a lot of people, and it's fascist and horrible, full and misogynistic. That's what she's getting at.
I don't care.
Now let's just keep going. Let's get to
hard. Duvets are prohibited for guys like you and me. Why does Jack feel so empty? Why does Jack feel so lost? Does he feel crushed by the superficiality and alienation inherent in capitalism? Does he have
capitalism?
A terminal illness?
It has to be capitalism.
Is it
can't
because
just be
the word duvet exists?
Does he have a terminal illness?
It's because
no,
Jack isn't real. He's a straw man whose mortal enemy is a fancy word for blanket. Let's take a closer look at one of the characters.
I love this. She's admitting she likes duvets.
But she's also like saying it's a fancy blanket, and it's like, yeah, that's the whole point, is that the word duvet obfuscates that the function for a man is blanket. Now, that's the whole point, is that a man is going to be wearing the leather of some animal that he killed. That's Tyler's whole mission statement. He wants everything to return to monkey. So you have a guy who hangs on to products and the prestige that comes from the names of the products that he thinks are going to complete him, to a guy who thinks that the act of getting the hide is going to be the thing that's going to satisfy him. Then he'll be clothed by that, and then he'll eat the food that he grows. It won't be a product that he buys.
I sleep in the pelt of the wolf I killed or something. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a completely different. So she just doesn't understand the male perspective whatsoever. She just doesn't get what it's like to be a man.
Remotely.
She doesn't empathize with it. She just rejects it. That's the whole disavow thing. It's like, are you ashamed of being a man? No. Well,
that's
then
why
you're a
he's
bad
built on
person.
Fight Club. That's why he's building Fight Club. Is one of the most primal things that men really enjoy, and it's why we like action movies and like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, that sort of thing. Is because one of the most primal thing that men enjoy is conquest and beating enemies, defeating opponents. Otherwise known as competition. Doesn't mean fighting them. It could be like beating the other team in football, or
that could be seducing the hot chick.
Yeah, something like that.
Or beating the snot out of the left wing nerd at school.
I could be winning at chess.
But that's why it's built on a Fight Club.
An RTS god.
That's why they built it on Fight Club.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
it's all about getting in a ring with some random guy and either winning and therefore getting that rush of conquest, or losing and having something to aspire to. I need to get stronger. I need to run. I need to keep my nails
And
trimmed.
not only that, actually getting hit, that he says, is the catharsis.
Yeah,
Because not even who wins. It's actually also there's facing down fear thing, because one of the things that they do, I think, is that I don't think you choose who you fight necessarily.
You don't.
And then there are fights that are totally unmatched. And so I thought that was cool. That's another one of those weird masculine things where it's like, I want to see the big guy fight the little guy.
What thing you see?
Everybody just goes, oh shit, and someone's gonna get his ass kicked. But once they call the fight, then you go, oh, you stood up, you didn't run away. That means you're still a member of Fight Club, because you took the challenge, and that's what she is, and why Fight Club is so based is that it reveals the physical manifestation of man, the actual manifested aspect of it, man part. Like the violent aspect is going to be a part of our cultural and subconscious and our awareness. That's why we love sports. That's why we love cars and engines and loud noises and all these different things. And it's like we're tuned to that. And then there are people out there that want to detune us, and that's people like Maggie Mae Fish. She's like, no, that's too dangerous.
The thing about the world of Fight Club is it's very blatant. It's out there. In fact, it's built on it. They spend a whole bunch of time on it. It's where they get the apartment scene from and everything. Is that the reason why it's so cathartic to get punched, to get to feel the pain? And I know this. I know this personally because I've taken kickboxing. There's nothing. It's so awesome. It's so amazing to be in actual confrontation, sparring and everything. It's thrilling. It gives you a great catharsis. But the reason why it's so effective in Fight Club is because the whole world of that where Edward Norton lives in is artificial. It's an artificial world. There's very little terminal feelings about it. It's all cushion. Right. It's all pillow. It's all soft. It's a big safe space. Yes. Nothing's real. You can't walk down the street and then you get in confrontation with a guy and then you fight him and that's it. Someone's going to call the police. You can't do that. It's all taken care of. It's all cushion. Like you have mommy and daddy watching over you all the time. But when you're in Fight Club, there's no safety net. You're fighting this guy. You're either going to win or you're going to get the blood just beaten out of your face.
There's no safe space in a fight.
Exactly. There's no safe space in a fight like that. So suddenly you have a bunch of guys. You suddenly have a bunch of guys who are suddenly seeing themselves build a legacy in Fight Club because they have no safe space. They have no safety net, and it's all based on merit. The only thing that's there, the only thing that's real, is how good are they at fighting? How much can they beat the other guy before the other guy beats them? And that's what it is. And if you win, you beat the guy in the ground, you feel good about it. You won. You're the guy. You're the man of the hour. You feel great. And they emphasize that in the movie. That's kind of what it's about. It's suddenly going from the artificial world of reality and corporatism to the real world without that safety net, without the cushion and the pomp and circumstance.
Yeah.
And that is why they hate this movie.
Absolutely.
More people need to go to Fight Clubs because there's too many people getting knocked out with one fucking punch these days.
Yeah, that's why I would say take a martial arts, take kickboxing, take a. I don't know.
I learned to take punches going around pubs and clubs in my hometown. getting punched in a barroom brawl, you learn to keep on your feet because if you go down, you're gonna get stamped on.
Oh yeah.
So it teaches you how to But these people, they've never been punched or kicked or anything in their lives, so we don't comprehend the primal like adrenaline that goes through you in a fight.
And that's why Dio always dominated Jonathan Joestar in the beginning.
Nice that you mentioned Jojo LD, because I seriously think I have come to the realization that Tyler is just a stand, really.
You think so?
Yeah, that'd be to a stand.
JoJo Bizarre Adventure is a gift to humanity that we just underappreciated. I don't care how it is; it's underappreciated.
It just all comes back to the fact that like these people who make up all these nonsense, it's just like people who haven't really lived. Like they haven't been punched at home. They haven't had any of these life experiences.
If Maggie Mae Fish was punched, she'd probably lose an arm or something.
The first time you get really punched in the face is a wake-up call. It's something it's kind of like something you experience once, and then like, whoa, that was what getting punched felt like. That's what it feels like.
Last time I had that was in high school, but I still fucking remember it, like, because like it was unavoidable. Like you were like a punching bag, or like you started like doing back.
Yeah. Well, yeah, these people have been in fights. This is why I call for there should be bullying back in school.
Make bullying great again.
No, just
make bullying great again.
Just correctional facilities.
Okay, so let's go one more minute. We'll call it a night. I think
lock half of these people up into lockers will solve the world's problem.
I think we can only take so much Maggie Mae for one day, so let's we could finish off right now. It's 8:00. Call it a day, or at least 8:00 my time.
Finish. Let's get to why don't we try to get to 20 minutes?
All right, okay. 20
We have been streaming for 3 hours.
Done.
Done,
dude.
I know.
We're the short man. We're not the long man over here.
After we pass 3 hours and a half, it's like, okay, we're rolling into territory we don't want to go. But anyway.
Tyler adopts a character whose life Tyler believes Tyler changes for the better.
What are we doing? Human sacrifice.
In the only scene where we actually see Tyler intimately engage with one of his converts, Tyler drags this stranger, Raymond, outside while he's working and puts a gun to the back of Raymond's head. Then, based solely on the fact that Raymond has an expired community college ID in his wallet, Tyler assumes the heck of a lot about Raymond's hopes and dreams, gets him to admit under duress that he gave up his goal of being a veterinarian, then threatens that if Raymond doesn't go back to school, Tyler will find Raymond and murder him.
This is a great scene. I love this scene. This is probably the most memorable part of the movie for me. I love this scene.
It's a good one. It's a very good one. It's actually in the book too, if I remember.
Brilliant. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's in the book.
Because
yes, it is.
Yes,
it is. I remember now.
It's another one of those theories, like, well, if somebody put a gun to my head, would you do it? You know what I mean? And that's it's part of Project Mayhem because he probably will never like even follow up on it. That's the other thing.
Oh yeah, that's part of it.
He also did that as sort of like a demonstration for his alter ego at the same time.
Oh, definitely. And what was the first homework assignment they had? Go out and start a fight and then lose it.
Yeah, it's actually really hard to start a fight
and lose it. Not only start the fight, but you have to lose it. You can't win it. You have to lose it.
Yeah, and see how, like, imagine if you start a fight and they just gave up before you lost. They'll be like, "What the fuck? I gotta go start another fight."
Oh, again.
Let's see her strange take. I think this is going to be very enlightening.
Very, very inspiring stuff. We know that Tyler just wants to push this guy to be his best self. We know that Tyler is trying to motivate men to be men, to take charge of their lives. We know this because Tyler knows this. Raymond does not know this. We do not know.
Yeah, Maggie Mae Fish is putting this as a bad thing, which some people you could arguably it is. But the thing is, it's instantly bad in Maggie Mae Fish's eyes, because it's instantly bad in the eyes of soy boys and feminists, because it is aggressive. It's more of an aggression as opposed to let's reason things out, which it doesn't really work as well as let me take a gun to your head and force you to do this immediatly. It's more aggressive.
Let's sit down, have some tea, some fairy cakes, talk it all over.
Yeah, Tyler Durden, his approach is, all right, we're done with this nonsense. Okay, you can do this or not. It's that. It's are you, no more coddling, no more crybaby nonsense, no more pillows. It's down. It's a sink or swim time. You're going to do this or not? That's kind of what the whole thing with Tyler Durden is. Stop waiting around for things to get better. Stop waiting around for things to change. Okay, nothing's going to get better or change unless you do it yourself. Unless you yourself make that change. Stop obeying the corporate
Personal
nonsense.
Responsibility.
And change your life. Accept personal responsibility and change your life. That's what he's doing there. Okay, just stop waiting for things to drop in your lap like a fairy tale.
Can you imagine
not
like going to like getting a gym membership? And you think, oh, I just got a gym membership, and not going to the gym. It just
exactly.
I know.
Like,
I know too many people who are actually like that.
This is why we have coaches. This is why we have personal trainers.
Bored going to the gym.
They are motivating you to do the thing you said you were going to do. People, why would I need a personal trainer? It's because you're not perfect. You don't know the ins and outs of getting into shape. You need someone to encourage. Everyone needs encouragement. I don't care how much of a self-motivated man you are and how primal and alpha male. I don't care. Everyone needs motivation to get up in the morning.
Ray doesn't need.
Sorry?
Ray from Star Wars doesn't.
Ray from Star Wars.
Oh, wait, she does because Luke had poop here.
Yeah. Yeah, she just has her own plot. I have no idea what that plot is, though. So the fact that people don't do these things when they say they're going to do it, or they spend the money and they don't put in the effort, it's such a powerful message. And we know he's not going to kill the guy. The gun isn't loaded. He's just motivating the guy. And Maggie's bitching because he's being aggressive and scaring the shit out of this guy. You know how many people's lives would be better if we just scared the shit out of them to do the thing they were supposed to do?
That's why we had all those stories.
Grab someone by the neck collar. You've got to shove some people to do it. Otherwise, they'll never do anything.
I remember
why do you think we had all those stories about scaring children? You think we're just being mean? It's because we're going to have stories to scare children so they don't wander off by themselves or go off with strangers and stuff.
I remember when
to be honest with you, it's a 50-50 really. I am doing it just to be a dick.
I remember when Dunn was telling me his discipline in writing. It's like, you do how many words a day? That's amazing. I don't care if it was 20 words a day. The fact that he does that, this is what I do. Like, this is my life. I decided to do this. I'm dedicated, da-da-da-da-da. He's written so many books. It doesn't matter if they're amazing. It doesn't matter if they suck. At that point, this is what he's doing. He's going to get better on his own terms, whatever those are. He can listen to me. Yeah. He can listen to all kinds of other writers. I don't care. It's up to him. But the fact that he's doing it every day is my... Same with you're doing 20 push-ups a day. I don't care if it's 3,000 push-ups. Whatever. This is your discipline. And all we need is a little kick in the ass once in a while, scare the shit out of us. Do the thing you're supposed to be doing. That's all it takes.
It's also referred to as tough love.
Tough love, being rebellious, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. Get the puck in the net, dude. Do the thing you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
Although using a gun might be a little too far, I think.
I think use guns on everybody.
Yeah, Americans are just use guns. Guns are good.
Well, well, for starters, I'm British, so just use guns. I'm fine with it.
Land ho,
I'm fully behind that as well.
Guns in primary schools. When?
Oh my god.
Raymond's perspective. We do not establish his mundane job. We do not see him standing behind the counter as Tyler rushes in like an ordinary robber. If we heard Raymond's side of the story, he would tell us about a time a lunatic robbed him, spouted a bunch of pseudo-philosophical BS.
The question, Raymond, was what did you want to be?
Only stole his driver's license and then left.
So?
Tyler tells us a story about how Tyler is a messiah. We are left assuming that Tyler changed this man's life for the better. We do not know that.
No, you don't.
Whether or
You
not
don't know
Raymond
that.
actually
That's
gets
true.
his degree doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't.
Tyler doesn't want us to imagine how Raymond actually feels. Tyler wants us to imagine how Tyler wants Raymond to feel.
Okay, it doesn't matter. Okay, he was telling him the truth. When you have a gun to the back of the head, you don't fuck around with the guy with the gun to the back of your head. You tell him what he wants to know.
Because surprisingly, when someone's got a gun to the back of their head, most of us, unlike you, Maggie, have a brain we don't want splattered on the fucking sidewalk. So
this is the most clearest message in the whole freaking movie, out of all the other things that the messages of the movie are. This is like everyone should understand this, like crystal, like super crystal. Like this is life and death right now. It's like, what are you doing with your life? Why?
Yeah.
It's so simple. I don't know why she's interpreting it this way, but yeah.
Well,
it's aggressive, therefore it's evil.
Yeah. God, this woman.
Sometimes men need aggression. Okay, sometimes men need aggression in their relationships and stuff like that.
That's why
as women, she might not understand that.
The project of all the men lining up doing like a roll call, like they're all ready to go. Like they've all gone through the initiation. They all believe in the cause. They could be making soap for the sake of making soap. That would have been totally fine. I wouldn't care. The fact that they're all part of Fight Club and they just want to be part of a group where they feel that they're alive, that they have purpose, that they have cathartics going through their bodies.
Yeah.
And they're feeling good. Like that's enough for the message of the movie. But there's all this other, anti-capitalism, this and that. Or I think it was wiping out credit card debt as opposed to the book, which was real different.
Yeah.
So they didn't have to add that, but blowing up. It's more dramatic when you're holding the girl you love by the hand, watching the buildings fall down. So
true.
Anyway, we're almost done for 20 minutes. We're gonna keep going. Yeah, we're good. Okay.
Yeah.
Tomorrow will be a beautiful day for Raymond Castle's life. His breakfast will taste better than any meal you and I have ever tasted.
In reality, Raymond is not liberated. In reality,
yes, he is.
How do you know?
How do you know that?
If you are given a lease on life, you know how free you feel?
Show me the follow-up scene with Raymond where he's not liberated. Oh, right, there isn't one.
Yeah.
She's like, you can't assume that he was liberated, but also he wasn't. He definitely wasn't. You can assume that you can't assume that he was, but you can assume that he wasn't. Bam, got him.
Yeah, exactly. It's like,
Raymond has choice but to follow Tyler's orders. Raymond hasn't been watching this movie, so Raymond has no reason to trust Tyler. No reason to buy into this.
Raymond hasn't watched this
Tyler
movie.
asks Raymond a straightforward question.
Raymond doesn't exist. As in, like, he's just a character in the movie. He can't watch the movie.
The answer to his question is yes, but since Tyler is telling the story, Raymond answers,
how did you know?
Tyler is telling us about a time when he robbed someone and pointed a gun at the back of their head. And in telling the story, Tyler needs to emphasize that he knows everything.
What do you mean telling
No, he doesn't.
Tyler's not telling the story, though.
He just got some context clues and he easily figured out something that's easy to understand.
Why does she keep calling the narrator Tyler?
I don't even know who she's on about at this point in time. Is she actually on about the narrator, or is she on about Brad Pitt at this point in time? I don't.
Tyler's not Brad Pitt. Tyler is Edward Norton. Like, we know that, but that's not the way that it's produced is not to be like Tyler was his official name. Tyler's the name that he invented. That was supposed to be it. Tyler's the name that he gave to Marla. Tyler's the name that was given to all the people around Fight Club. Tyler never gets set. Edward Norton's character never gets told, you are Tyler Durden, from anybody that he knows in his real life, right? His quote-unquote official commercial life, right? So she's confused.
She's so confused that she's confusing me.
He Hackton, in the middle of what they think might be their last moments on Earth, praised Tyler's intelligence. Tyler is right about everything.
How did you know?
Because they give shitty basement apartments letters instead of numbers.
I don't even know if that's true, but we don't have time to question it.
We don't have to question it. The guy tells them it's true.
Why wouldn't that be true?
He just said so. How did you know? It must imply he's saying the truth. Why is it hard to believe that someone's living in a basement apartment when they're working at a convenience store?
Also, if it is true that they give letters instead of numbers to basement apartments, just because you don't know that doesn't mean that someone else didn't know that. Just what it's like someone lives in an apartment in the UK because there'll be a letter in their address.
Right.
It'd be like 2A or 2B or something like that.
This is specific, esoteric knowledge that the reader might not be available to, but that's at the fault of the reader or the fault of the audience. Nothing says they can't figure this out on their own. You should not have to. You shouldn't have to explain the serial number code for people who own certain houses to the audience.
This is just like.
It's not the writer's fault that the audience is misinformed about stuff which is not necessary to the plot. It's completely
it's
superfluous.
Yeah.
The main point here is the guy knows.
In a basement.
Yeah, the guy is smart enough to know that, and the guy on the ground didn't realize that was information that was prevalent to having knowledge about. That's it.
Yeah.
We don't need to know. We don't need to, like, it could be some obscure scientific reference like force equals, energy plus mass or acceleration plus mass. Like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what the knowledge is. It could be some crazy idea that's completely religious or obscure. It doesn't matter. The impact, we understand the scene. The guy is saying he's right. Yeah. That's it. We don't need to question it.
Yeah.
Because Tyler's never wrong.
I just can't win with you, can I?
No, but wins in every situation, no matter how absurd. Everything Tyler sets out to achieve, he accomplishes. Because this is Tyler's story.
It's yes, thank you. It's a story.
Yeah. Also, he's a man, so of course he's going to succeed.
At least something she got right.
I know. It's like he has a bunch of guys set up bombs throughout like the whole downtown core of like 19 buildings. It's some crazy number that they're planning this thing for months. Mm-hmm. It is hard to grasp, but it's not impossible. So my brain goes, yeah, this is conceivable. It's definitely
also considering the people who joined Fight Club, they could be working in these buildings to make it easier. I think that's even said.
Right? Yeah, no, they're all part of this group. Exactly. They all nod their head when they see him when he's passing by. He's like, "What the hell's going on? How do these people know me?" He's in his car. He's walking by. They all know me. What's going on? It's getting creepy. Now it's a little more believable in the book because he only blows up one building, I think. Or was it 2 buildings? I can't remember. But fine. It's a bit over the top at the ending. It's a movie. It's not impossible.
Yeah.
There's sufficient explanation.
He also shoots himself through the fucking face as well. So it's like, okay, fine.
Yeah, I know. How he's able to talk after that, I don't know yet.
Yeah.
A bullet through your cheek probably wouldn't help very much. Yeah.
Did that happen in the book as well?
Yeah, he shoots himself in the but the thing is he passes out after that. Then he wakes up in a hospital bed.
And he is a hero.
Tell you are by far the most interesting single-serving friend I've ever met.
Even his victims think so.
How did you know?
Even on the second viewing.
How did you know?
Notice how when Tyler was trying to ask Raymond, what did you want to be? It takes multiple questions and the threat of physical violence.
What'd you study, Raymond? Stuff? Where the midterms are?
But when it comes to praising Tyler, Raymond's response is immediate.
How did you know?
Watching Tyler drift through the...
How did you know is not praising somebody? That's a question.
Wait. Okay, Maggie, do you know what English is? Do you know how words work?
Have you ever been praised?
Hawk, how did you know milk goes into cereal?
How did you know?
Wow, he's praising
Am I praising you, sir?
Did you know about something that you shouldn't know about?
How did you know? How did you know he's praising somebody? That is
all right. We got 20 seconds left to mark it off as 20 minutes. Let's just. This is ridiculous.
Story is like someone play a video game with God mode on.
No.
Raymond's existence in Tyler's story serves Tyler. Later, we see a door covered in driver's licenses. We never see Raymond again. Raymond is reduced to
Maggie, you just can't stand strong, competent men.
If he did not go back to school, he's dead because Tyler killed him. If he did go back...
What?
What? You were making so many
this coming from?
You're making so many assumptions and then having a go at people if they make an opposite assumption. What is wrong with... What? Seriously, see a doctor because you are just fucking...
I'm sorry, wait. If he doesn't go to school, then he's dead because Tyler killed him.
Yeah. No, she's fucking loco. There's no.
Where does this logic come from?
She's gone.
Is he going to hunt him down?
Maggie.
That was the impression. He's going to come back here another week's time to make sure he's okay or something like that. Was that the scene in the film? I can't remember. I think it was something like that. He's going to check up on him again or something. I can't recall.
Yeah, why? Why would you need the scene of that?
Yeah.
It doesn't mean anything after. After this scene, it means nothing. It's just.
She's fetishizing over this one scene.
She's a fucking nutcase, and she's just getting worse and worse and worse with everything, and it's just becoming like. It's such delusional headcanon shit that we have to deal with all the time. I don't know what planet she's on, honestly.
Okay, guys.
She might as well be on Venus for all the sense she's making.
She could be on Alpha Centauri Prime for all I care. It just doesn't.
Okay, well, I think we hit the 20-minute mark. We're going to call it a day. Here's one more donation from Tyler Preston, though. Okay, now I wonder how much pain were all of Maggie Mae Fish's teachers were in to have her as a student, depending on which course she took, of course.
Oh, God.
My sympathies goes
I
out
can't
to
imagine her being in college and constantly asking those stupid-ass questions from the professor.
My
They probably loved her.
Classmates.
What are you talking about? They probably loved her. That's probably where they made her.
Oh, God.
The education system.
My sympathies go out to them for having to deal with a mental bent like Maggie. This is implying that, she was studying science and they just could not get through to her. I don't think she studied science one bit. I think she went into sociology.
Looking up her history. It seems that all her classmates suspiciously committed suicide on the same day. So...
All right, guys. That was enough for one day.
Yeah.
If you guys want to do this tomorrow, it's up to you, because that was a lot.
I'd be down to go. I'd be down to go toe to toe with Maggie.
Okay, Dunn. I know Dunn could do it with me because we've done it before.
Dunn.
No one is under any obligation. You don't have to do anything. It's fine. We all have our lives on the weekend.
Why have I just got this? Why have I got this private message from Smud? By the way, Hawk, you're not out of this. You're coming definitely on tomorrow.
See you there, kid.
See you around. All right. All right, guys. Well, thanks for having almost 3.5 hours of Maggie Mae Fish. I'm glad some of you stuck around. Definitely not our most popular video to cover, but always nice to remember what we're doing and why we're doing it, guys. It's take apart the crazy. So thanks for tuning in. I'm gonna go get something for my life, whiskey
for my life,
water. Remind myself why.
Going a bit far here.
You want to go home and rethink your life.
I had to have the homemade Pepperidge Farm cookies.
Oh yeah,
handmade by
the Buffalo Trace whiskey.
Hey, I actually have Buffalo Trace.
So do I. I have some right here.
It is simply fantastic bourbon. It's not the best bourbon, but it's just got a little bit of everything that bourbon is. And I think everyone who loves whiskey owes it to themselves to get some Buffalo Trace, Kentucky, real good stuff, good old American stuff. So anyway, good night, folks. Thanks, guys. Full house. Do appreciate it. I wish we could say good night to Crazy Philosopher. I think he took off. But wow.
Yeah, he got tired, but he's been tired.
Yeah, well, different time zones especially.
Yeah,
I'm glad I got you guys in Europe to hang around for as long as I could. So
it's fine. Not doing anything else.
All right, guys, gentlemen. Thank you. Good night. Have yourself a good one. Bye-bye.
Late.